Your chest tightens as if a hand is closing around your sternum. Your jaw clamps, a headache blooms behind your right eye, your phone lights up again, and your brain starts spitting worst-case headlines. Your pulse insists you do something, anything, even if it's sending that sharp text you'll regret. Sound familiar? This is not weakness, it's wiring. Your amygdala, a fast, ancient alarm, just yanked resources from your planning brain and lit a flare. Here's the promise, you can talk to it. In the next hour, you will learn a simple language of breath, naming, and micro-questions that returns blood to the cortex, short-circuits spirals in 90 seconds, and lets you choose who you'll be in the next minute. No lecturing, no perfection, just practical neuroscience that fits in your pocket, ready in the elevator, the meeting, the kitchen at midnight. You don't have to numb out or fight your mind. You can befriend your alarm system and make peace your default. Let's start with the map. Your amygdala is a smoke detector, not a judge. It scans for patterns that hint at danger, tone of voice, facial tension, numbers in red, the memory of a slammed door, and fires fast to keep you alive. When it fires, oxygen and glucose are prioritized for fight, flight, or freeze, and your prefrontal cortex, the wise planner, goes dim. You feel it as tunnel vision, time compression, and the urge to react. You can't out-argue a fire alarm with logic at the moment of the blare. You must lower the volume first. That's why your first tool is not a thought, it's a breath. Use the 4-4-6 breath. Inhale through your nose for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Long exhales activate your parasympathetic brake, signaling safety. Do 3 rounds. While you breathe, picture oxygen like cool river water rinsing heat from the back of your neck. If you can, place one hand on your chest and the other on your abdomen and feel the lower hand rise. Your amygdala hears exhale length more clearly than pep talks. It's biological Morse code for stand down. And when the alarm dips even a little, we move to language. Now the framework, the amygdala handshake. Step 1, greet it without sarcasm. Hey alarm, I see you. Step 2, give it a job. Help me notice one useful action. Step 3, promise a check-in. We'll look again in 90 seconds. You are not banishing fear, you are taking leadership of it. That small shift, respect instead of war, keeps your cortex online. Think of a smoke detector that chirps less when you tap it and say, working on it. Your body relaxes when you assure it the adult is in the room. Try this right now, even without a trigger. Whisper, hey alarm, thanks for trying to keep me safe. Show me the next small wise move. Then wait for an answer that is boring and doable. Drink water, step outside, write one sentence, ask one question. That's the language your nerves understand, small and specific. Feel your feet for a moment. Notice the weight through your heels, the subtle sway in your ankles. Let your eyes soften so peripheral vision returns. You might notice the temperature of the air on your forearms, the fabric at your collar, the tick of a clock you usually ignore. This is the window widen protocol. When stress narrows your focus to the one disaster, you deliberately widen the frame. Naming 3 neutral details, light on the wall, hum of the AC, a blue mug, tells your midbrain the world is larger than the problem. That widens options. From here, your inner voice is ready for clarity. Here's the story of Maya. Fluorescent meeting room, 3:17 p.m. quarterly review. The VP's tone turned clipped. Maya's slides showed a dip. Heat rose to her cheeks, her amygdala screamed, and the impulse to blame the vendor hit like a wave. She felt her tongue preparing a defense that would fracture trust. She did the handshake under the table. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6, twice. Quietly, she placed her palm flat on the cool conference table and noticed the subtle slickness of varnish under her skin. She said in her head, hey alarm, help me notice the next wise move. The answer arrived in 5 words. Ask for one more data point. Instead of defending, she asked, could we pull week by week within Region C? I think it hides a timing issue. The room softened. The data did show a timing gap. The issue could be fixed. On the walk back to her desk, her body felt lighter in the chest, and she realized she hadn't won by crushing the panic. She won by leading it. Now the science bridge, quick and friendly. The amygdala reacts in roughly 150 milliseconds. Your cortex enters the chat a breath later. That gap is your danger zone. If you fill it with the 4-4-6 breath and the handshake, you reclaim blood flow and working memory. The long exhale triggers the vagus nerve. The naming reduces limbic activity by labeling sensation instead of narrating catastrophe. This is not a class. It's a craft you train in micro moments. So here's your micro practice. 3 times today, when your phone dings or you catch yourself clenching your jaw, do a single handshake. No drama, no ritual. Hey alarm, I see you. One small wise move. Write that move down. By night, you'll have a list of small pivots that add up to a different identity. The next framework is the 90-second weather rule. Treat emotions like weather systems. They surge, peak, and pass if you keep your hands off the controls. For the next trigger you meet, set a 90-second timer. During the 90, breathe 4-4-6, name sensory facts, and say, I'm having the thought that I'm trapped. That phrase is a cognitive diffuser. It moves you from being the storm to observing it. When the timer ends, you choose the smallest wise move. If the wave returns, run another cycle. You're not suppressing, you're surfing. Pay attention to your ribcage expanding on the inhale, the slight warmth in your cheeks, the cool air against your upper lip on the exhale. Precision calms the animal brain because precision equals safety. You'll add the 2-question reframe. Ask, what is the threat my amygdala thinks it's solving? Then ask, what is the value I'm protecting? Often, the perceived threat is embarrassment, exclusion, or loss of control. The value is competence, belonging, or autonomy. When you name value, you unlock value-aligned actions that don't torch your relationships. Say you feel accused in a text. Threat, I'll look incompetent. Value, growth. Small wise move. Ask a clarifying question before answering. Or you feel ignored by your partner. Threat, I'll be abandoned. Value, connection. Small wise move. Can we talk for 10 minutes after dinner about today? The amygdala calms when it hears you have a plan to protect what matters. Take another sensory beat. Shift your posture 2 degrees taller. Let your shoulders drop like warm sand. Feel the chair supporting your hamstrings. Notice one sound far away, one near, one inside your body. Let your tongue relax from the roof of your mouth. That subtle release can lower reactivity in seconds. Small muscles, big message. There's a reason this works in kitchens at midnight. Sleep debt makes the amygdala hair trigger. It overestimates threat and underestimates nuance. So your night self sends spicy paragraphs. Tonight, try the midnight fridge drill. When you feel the itch to send that text, walk to the kitchen, put your palms on the cool countertop, and exhale for 6. Say, hey alarm, you think this text will save me? What value am I protecting? Then write it in your notes, not in the message field. Tell yourself, in the morning, I can still send it. That permission reduces scarcity. Most mornings you won't want to. You didn't fix your life. You just didn't make it worse, and that is how peace compounds. We can go deeper with the 3-angle reframe. Describe your situation 3 ways: the negative plausible, the neutral factual, the positive plausible. This meeting will expose me as clueless. This meeting is 30 minutes to review numbers. This meeting might reveal one fixable gap and give me a chance to learn. Your amygdala loves certainty, so give it multiple certainties to choose from. You're not forcing optimism, you're widening truth. Then ask, which description helps me take the smallest wise move? That's the one you ride. If your triggers are chronic, same person, same pattern, create an if-then script. If my name is questioned in that tone, then I will breathe 446 once, ask one clarifying question, and schedule a follow-up. Predecisions soothe the alarm because the unknown shrinks. Write your script on a card, keep it in your wallet. The act of touching the card is a physical cue, a tactile bridge from panic to plan. Pause and scan. From toes to skull, do a quick body budget check. Rate your fuel from 1 to 10, sleep, hydration, food, movement. The amygdala fires faster when your budget is low. If you're at a 3, adjust expectations. Today's win might be gentle, walking while you take the call, choosing water over another coffee, adding a 10-minute sunlight loop. This is not about moral virtue. It's about electricity in the battery that powers restraint and empathy. You might ask, but what if the alarm is right? Good. Sometimes it is. That's why we don't erase fear, we integrate it. Use the red flag whisper. Place 2 fingers lightly at your wrist and feel your pulse. Say, if this truly threatens my safety or dignity, I will act. Then choose an action that preserves dignity without burning the village. I'm going to pause this conversation and return at 3. It takes courage to walk away. It takes more to walk away without a slam. Your amygdala respects clean boundaries delivered in calm tone. In the body, that feels like warmth spreading across the upper back, a steadier breath, and a sense of ground underfoot. Another story closer to home. Sunday morning, sink full of dishes, you're late for a brunch. Your partner asks a question that lands like a jab. Your tongue flashes with a perfect comeback. You catch yourself standing too rigidly, shoulders pinned to your ears. The handshake arrives by habit. Breath in 4, hold 4, out 6. Hey alarm, show me one small wise move. It says, mirror back the need. You say, do you need reassurance or a plan? The room changes, dishes still there. Brunch still soon, but you just protected the value, connection, without self-abandoning. The day takes a different turn. The final move today is identity level. Your amygdala is part of you, it is not you. You are the awareness that notices it. Repeat this quietly. I am the observer behind the weather, not the weather itself. Let that sentence sit in your ribs. Picture a small sanctuary room behind your eyes with a chair and a window. Storms pass, you stay. When the next wave comes, your job is simple. Breathe, greet, ask, choose. The world will still be messy. But you will be the person who can walk through mess without adding to it. Before we close this first session, set your practice. Choose a trigger target for the next 24 hours. Maybe it's notifications, maybe it's a coworker's sigh, maybe it's the mirror at 7 a.m. Every time the target appears, you run the trilogy. 4-4-6 breath, amygdala handshake, small wise move. In the evening, jot 3 lines, the trigger, the move, the outcome. You are not tracking perfection, you're training fluency. In a week, you won't be calmer by accident. You'll be calm on purpose because you've built a language that your nervous system trusts. Feel your breath now one more time. Cool in, warm out. Let your exhale lengthen. Unclench your hands. Unpin your shoulders. Notice your feet, the temperature at your neck, the way light falls across the surfaces in your room. Say it once more. Hey alarm, thanks. Help me notice one small wise move. Then pick it. Drink water. Stretch your calves. Send one sentence that opens a door instead of closing one. This is not about never feeling. It's about never being owned by an unexamined surge. Peace is not a miracle. It's a protocol you can run in 60 seconds, over and over, until it becomes who you are. You wake and the mind is already sprinting. Before your feet find the floor, the day crowds your ribcage. the project, the bill, the message you still haven't answered. Your pulse quickens though nothing has happened yet. This is the hour when many days are lost. Before breakfast, before the first decision, when the amygdala guesses what might go wrong and your reticular activating system, the brain's filter, starts hunting for confirming evidence. Today we train a new pattern. Think of this as teaching your RAS to fetch you options instead of proof of doom. You'll do it with two tools that fit in a pocket, the stop switch and the RAS redirect. One interrupts the reflex, the other points your attention like a well-trained searchlight so your cortex can find what's useful. The stop switch is simple and serious. Say it under your breath, stop, take 1-4-4-6 breath, observe one body sensation, one feeling, one thought, proceed with the smallest wise move. You're not freezing, you're flipping the circuit breaker for 5 seconds so the sparks don't burn the house. Try it right now, eyes half closed. Stop. Inhale for 4, hold 4, exhale for 6. Observe the weight of the blanket on your shins, a faint fizz of anxiety at the base of your throat, the thought, I'm already behind. Proceed. Swing both feet to the floor and stand up slowly, feeling the cool surface contact your soles. That single sequence takes less than 20 seconds and restores you to the driver's seat. Do it 3 times this morning before you touch your phone. The repetition tells your alarm system there's a caretaker present. Notice the room. There's a line of light sliding across the wall, the soft click of a pipe, the smell of soap or coffee. Your shoulders may want to hitch toward your ears, let them drop a few millimeters. Imagine the sternum softening. When your vision widens, your options widen. This is not decoration, this is physiology. Your amygdala narrows attention to the perceived threat. Deliberately expanding sensory input loosens its grip. The stop switch is the doorway. Now we set the direction with the RAS redirect. Your RAS works like the algorithm of your attention. Tell it what to look for, and it will bias your perception. Scared mind tells it to search for mistakes. Calm mind teaches it to search for leverage. The framework is a sentence you'll repeat whenever a concern appears. Show me 3 signals of support and 1 lever I control. Signals of support are anything in your environment or memory that indicates you're not alone or doomed. A teammate's text, a past success, a resource, even the simple fact that you've handled 20 mornings before. A lever is a small controllable action. Send a check-in message, block 30 minutes. Ask for a constraint, drink water, set a timer. Say the line, then let your eyes and memory scan. Your RAS will start surfacing items you used to ignore because fear had all the airtime. The body reaction to this is subtle. A little more breath at the bottom of the lungs, heat moving out of the face, hands unclenching. Here's the morning mini-story. You sit in your car outside the office, wipers squeaking, belly tight. You're rehearsing a conversation with a prickly colleague and your mind is stacking worst-case towers. You almost start the engine and drive away. Stop, switch, stop. 4-4-6. Observe, rain rippling the windshield, the drumbeat of your heart in your left ear, the sentence, he'll roll his eyes. Proceed. Place both hands on the steering wheel, soften your gaze. RAS redirect. Show me 3 signals of support and 1 lever I control. You notice the HR workshop you attended last month about difficult dialogues. You remember the small praise email your manager sent you yesterday. You see your notebook with questions you drafted. Lever. Ask the colleague to define success for the meeting in 1 sentence before you discuss content. You walk in, and while nothing is guaranteed, your nervous system is no longer sprinting into a wall. You carry a plan, and the plan carries you. Taste the air on your tongue, cool on the inhale, warmer on the exhale. Trace the outline of your lips with attention from inside the face. Feel your feet again as if they are speaking slowly to the ground. If there's a hum of a vent, let it be a rope from your ears to the room. The body is the anchor, thought is the weather. Today we layer in a second method that builds on the first two, the emotional alchemy ladder. When you're stuck in a hot emotion, you don't leap to joy. You climb one rung toward neutrality. The rung names are simple: flooded, naming, neutral, useful, caring. You ask, which rung am I on? If you're flooded, you don't attempt a complex decision. You run stop and the 90-second weather rule. If you're at naming, this is anger, you move to neutral by describing 3 facts without adjectives. From neutral, you can ask your RAS for useful, the smallest lever. From useful, you touch caring by aligning with a value: kindness, clarity, courage. Climbing the ladder is not about pretending, it's about sequence. An example from a kitchen at 6:40 p.m. The pan smokes. Someone leaves a cabinet door open and you smack your forehead. Words rise that could bruise: flooded, stop, breath, naming, this is irritation. Neutral, the pan is hot, the door is open, my head stings. Useful, turn off the burner, close the door, cool the pan. Caring, I value this evening, I want it to feel warm. Then you choose a sentence that protects both reality and relationship. Give me 60 seconds to reset, then I'd love a hand chopping. You just shifted trajectories by climbing one rung at a time, not by shaming yourself for feeling. Your amygdala got leadership, not exile. Pause and do a micro drill. Put one hand on your belly, one on your chest. Whisper, flooded, naming, neutral, useful, caring. Pick the rung you're on right now, no judgment. If it's flooded, set a 90-second timer and breathe. If it's naming, label the sensation with childlike honesty: hot cheeks, prickly arms. If it's neutral, narrate 3 facts. If useful, name 1 lever. If caring, touch the value in a full sentence. I want to be the kind of person who protects connection while telling the truth. Feel how the air moves more generously through your ribs when you speak a value. That's motivation with dignity instead of fear, dressed as discipline. We'll talk about a student named Eli because learning environments squeeze amygdalas for sport. Midterm week, library glare, emails piling, stomach a small whirlpool. Eli read the same paragraph 3 times and nothing stayed. He imagined failing, losing scholarships, disappointing everyone. He tried to focus harder, which is like telling a jammed door to open wider. Instead, Eli ran the stop switch. Then he used the RAS redirect sentence. Signals of support. He remembered the professor's office hours are open tomorrow. He remembered his friend's outline from last semester. He noticed the noise-canceling setting in his earbuds. Lever, 5-minute summary in his own words on a sticky note before rereading. He climbed the ladder from flooded to naming to neutral by saying facts out loud. It's 8:17. I'm on page 41. I have 40 minutes before I need to leave. He rode the useful rung with a timer, then touched caring with, I want to be someone who studies in a way that my future self respects. The test didn't turn into a party, but he passed. More importantly, he learned the skill of steering under pressure, a skill exams secretly measure. Let your jaw loosen. The teeth don't have to touch. Scrunch your hands tight for 2 seconds, then release. Roll your shoulders forward and back, slow and deliberate, listening for the soft grind of fascia waking. The nervous system loves contrast. It's a quiet way to show your amygdala that you have range. Now add a tiny piece of language that disarms catastrophic certainty. I'm having the thought that, say, I'm having the thought that I can't handle this call. You feel how it creates a millimeter of space between you and the sentence. In that space, the stop switch can fit, and through that door, the ladder invites you up one rung. You're building a chain: phrase, breath, focus, action. Sometimes the trigger is not a single moment, but a slow drip. The coworker who copy CCs your boss, the partner who sighs at the sink, the neighbor who parks just so on the shared line. Chronic triggers exhaust the battery. Here we install an if-then plus the RAS redirect as a standing ritual. If I see their name in my inbox, then I will stop, run 1446 breath, and ask my RAS for 3 supports and 1 lever. Write this if-then on paper. Put it in your desk drawer. Touch it before opening the email. The tactile cue primes your cortex. And when the lever is unclear, use the 2-minute scout. Spend exactly 2 minutes gathering one piece of context that would make the next step easier. 1 policy, 1 date, 1 precedent. Your RAS loves precise missions. It will serve you clean data instead of another round of what if. Smell the room again. Is there coffee, paper, your own skin, rain baking off concrete? If your environment is sterile, imagine a scent that means safe from your past. Pine sap, grandmother's laundry, the dry coolness of a library. A half-second of imagery can soften your diaphragm. Now bring in the boundary breath, a cousin of 446. Inhale 4 as you picture a soft perimeter about 18 inches around your body. Exhale 6 and feel that perimeter firm like a velvet rope. Whisper, I can be porous to context and firm in values. When you walk into difficult conversations with a body boundary, your tone stabilizes. People hear leadership in pace and breath rate, not just in sentences. You might wonder when to use which tool. Think sequence. If you're at a 10 out of 10, lead with the 90-second weather rule and stop. Once your breath touches bottom lungs, add the RAS redirect to invite options. As options appear, climb the alchemy ladder toward useful, then caring. If the situation demands a line in the sand, layer in boundary breath and speak a value-backed limit. I'm committed to solving this, and I won't continue while being interrupted. Let's pause for 10 minutes and restart. You didn't flare, you didn't fold, you led. A quick personal moment from your last week, choose one. Maybe a text landed wrong. Maybe traffic braided your nerves. Replay it now with the sequence. See yourself in that car, both hands on the wheel, feeling the rubber grip. Hear the low engine idle like a cat. Stop, breath, name, RAS redirect. Show me 3 supports and 1 lever. See the supports appear as if highlighted in yellow. Climb 1 rung on the ladder. Notice how the body sensation shifts. Heat leaving the cheeks, breath sliding easier, a cool line at the back of your throat. The memory changes tone because you changed the soundtrack. Close this session with a micro practice you can tuck into your day like a note in your shoe. Call it the 2 doors. Door A is react now. Door B is lead in 60. When you feel the tug to react, glance at the mental doors and choose B on purpose. For the next 60 seconds, you run stop, RAS redirect, and the alchemy ladder. At the end of the minute, you act. This removes the illusion that you're delaying forever. It's just 60 seconds of leadership. Over time, your amygdala learns that door B brings relief, not danger, and it starts nudging you that way without a fight. You are not your first impulse. You are the one who chooses the door. You are the awareness behind the weather, steady even when thunder argues otherwise. When you practice these tools, you're not faking calm. You're funding it breath by breath, choice by choice, until your nervous system recognizes the signature of safety and plays it back to you automatically. This is how peace becomes practical, portable, and yours. The day tests you not in isolation, but in contact, with customers, family, teammates, strangers who stand a little too close in line. Social friction wakes the amygdala faster than spreadsheets ever will. Today you'll learn to steer in conversation without losing yourself. We'll build two tools that fit inside your voice, the conflict compass and mirror label lead. One keeps your orientation, the other moves the dialogue forward without adding heat. Together, they let you talk to other people's alarms while keeping yours on a soft leash. You don't need charisma, you need sequence and breath. Start with the body. Imagine your sternum as the compass rose. North is your value, south is your boundary, east is curiosity, west is clarity. Before any high-stakes conversation, you set your north in a single sentence. I value truth with care, or I value progress over blame. That is your orienting star. Then you predecide your south. If I'm interrupted twice, I will pause and reschedule. East and west are your conversational stance. One open question for curiosity, one simple statement for clarity. The conflict compass gives your nervous system something to hold while words fly. Without it, your amygdala grabs the wheel the first time a voice lifts. Feel your feet now planted. Notice the ground through the balls of your feet and the heels like slow anchoring hooks. Soften the skin around your eyes. Let your exhale fall 6 beats long, as if you are fogging a small circle on glass. There's a smell in the room, soap, coffee, your own skin, that tells the midbrain you are here, not there, and it is this moment, not that memory. With your compass set, you're ready to speak in a way the other person's nervous system can metabolize. Mirror label lead is a 3-beat sequence. First, mirror. Repeat the last 2 or 3 keywords the other person said lightly, like setting a cup back on a table without a clang. Their amygdala hears I'm tracking. Second, label. Name the emotion you suspect. It sounds like you're frustrated, or it seems there's a lot on your plate. Labeling lowers limbic steam because being seen is safety. Third, laid. Offer one small, concrete next step aligned to your north. You do not explain your whole case. You give the moment a hinge. Mirroring and labeling are like opening windows in a stuffy room. Leading is pointing to the door. Here's the story. Tuesday, 10:06 a.m., open office hums, your manager strides over with their laptop open to a chart dipped in red. We needed this yesterday. You feel heat creep up your neck, an old fear of being singled out stirring in your belly. Tunnel vision presses in. Your tongue preps a defense. Conflict compass. North, I value progress over blame. South, if the tone gets sharp twice, I'll pause the meeting. East, curiosity question. What outcome do you want by 3 p.m.? West, clarity statement. Here is the bottleneck I see. Breath 446 once. Mirror, needed this yesterday. Label, sounds like you're under a ton of pressure about the deadline. Lead, if the goal is an updated forecast by 3, I can freeze new inputs and run a quick scenario now, then we refine tomorrow. Does that serve? Their shoulders drop a centimeter. The laptop lowers a few degrees. You didn't submit or counterpunch. You steered. The room's chemistry changes because you changed yours. Scan your hands. Are they cold or warm? Notice the texture of your fingertips when they meet your palms. Pay attention to the small pull of fabric at your shoulders. These are ropes back to your body when conversation tries to yank you out of yourself. The amygdala loves to drag you into someone else's storm. You will not fight the weather. You will be the person who holds the umbrella and chooses the path. Let's add a micro practice that prepares your voice, the resonant humming reset. Before you enter a tense room, hum one low note for one breath, feeling vibration at your lips and chest. Vibration stimulates the vagus nerve and slows your cadence. Your voice drops half a step. Urgency drains from your syllables. People hear calm in pacing more than in words. Pair it with a cue sentence in your head. I move slow to move fast. Then step in. Your nervous system's tempo becomes the metronome of the room. Now we refine your compass with the signal-to-noise filter. In heated exchanges, not all data deserves equal attention. Signal is information about needs, constraints, and values. Noise is tone, blame, catastrophizing. Your job is to amplify signal and deflect noise without shaming the sender. Use the phrase, "I want to make sure I hear what matters." Then reflect one need or constraint and ask one clarifying question. If tone gets hot, acknowledge it once and return to signal. "I can hear how urgent this feels. The piece I'm hearing is we need X by Friday and Y depends on that. Is that right?" This keeps the dialogue in the lane where your cortex can drive. Feel the air cooling the inside of your nostrils on the inhale. On the exhale, notice the faint warmth against your upper lip. Let your shoulders sag like wet rope, then gather again. Contrast teaches your body range. If your jaw is clenched, unhook the back molars. These tiny adjustments tell your inner alarm, "I'm here and I'm leading." With the body steadied, we can install the micro-yes method, a cousin to lead that increases agreement. Instead of seeking a big yes, you collect tiny yeses in sequence. A yes to the definition of the problem, a yes to a time frame, a yes to a next micro step. 3 micro yeses equal a stabilized interaction. A quick relationship moment. Evening, dishes stacked, your partner's tone sharpens over a forgotten errand. Your chest tightens, the old script knocks, defend, deflect, tally, you catch it. Conflict compass, north, I value connection and accountability. South, if voices rise twice, I'll suggest a pause. Breath, hum, mirror, forgot the errand. Label, you sound disappointed. Lead, would it help if I order it right now while we talk and set a reminder for Saturday pickups? Micro yes, is the end of week the time that matters? They nod, yes 1. If it arrives Thursday, does that still work? Yes 2. I'll set the reminder and show you after dinner, okay? Yes 3. You didn't erase frustration. You gave it a path to move through. Your amygdala stays within friendly range because you're doing something it trusts. Orient, validate, act small. Sometimes the words are stuck because the person across from you is not just stressed but flooded. When another amygdala is hijacked, facts bounce. Here you use the 90-second holding pattern. Your goal is not to solve, it's to create a pocket where the cortisol graph can slope down. For 90 seconds you do 3 things: maintain soft eye contact or a gentle gaze, keep your voice in a slow, low cadence, reflect needs without diagnosis. You wanted to feel looped in. It felt last minute. Silence, breath. You want to protect your team from whiplash. Only after the 90 do you offer one lever. This is compassion as strategy. It returns blood to both cortices. Check the temperature of your forearms. Feel the chair cradling your hamstrings. Listen for a sound in the distance. A car, pipes, an HVAC whisper. Let a single strand of attention stay with that sound as you imagine entering your next tense conversation. You will carry the conflict compass. You will hum once at the threshold. You will seek signal and micro-yeses, hold for 90 if needed, then lead. These are not tricks. They are nerve-friendly ways to let dignity and clarity share the room. We'll bring in the 2-track apology because you are human and you will mess up. When you fumble, the amygdala often barricades behind explanations. Instead, you'll apologize on 2 tracks, impact and intention in that order. I interrupted you twice in that meeting and it undercut you. That's on me. My intention was to speed things up, but the impact was the opposite. Here, what I'll do next time, pause and ask if you want context. You speak it slowly, owning the verb you did, naming a plan. The somatic aftermath is relief, a quieting at the base of the skull, breath that doesn't scrape. Your nervous system learns that accountability is not annihilation, it is repair. Consider a colleague named Noor. She leads a design review. A senior engineer undercuts her mid-sentence. Her vision narrows, palms go slick. Historically, she shut down or shot back. She chose a third way. Conflict compass, north, I value clarity and respect. Breath, mirror, hold on, won't scale, label. Sounds like you're concerned we'll paint ourselves into a corner. Laid, can you give me the top constraint in one sentence so we can check it against the product goal? Signal to noise, she ignores the sigh, focuses on the constraint. Memory footprint, micro-yes method. If we can show a path under 200 MB with a caching strategy, would that address your concern for this milestone? Yes. Later, she ran a 2-track apology with a junior teammate she had rushed that morning. In her body, a subtle steadiness took root, less fizz under the ribs, more length in her breath. It wasn't a perfect day. It was a day she led. Another technique to protect your range in hard conversations is the anchor word. Before you walk in, choose one word that carries your north: steadiness, kindness, precision. Whisper it on the inhale, release on the exhale. When the other person's tone spikes, you silently repeat your word. It prevents your RAS from locking onto their face as threat and keeps a thread to your value. Your tone becomes a vessel for the word. People may not remember your sentences, but they will remember how your nervous system felt in the room. Take a sensory beat. Let your tongue rest from the roof of your mouth. You might feel a tiny waterfall of saliva as the parasympathetic system engages. Press your toes into the floor, then let them spread. Rotate your wrists and feel the soft, sandy grind inside the joint. The body participates in every dialogue you have. Treating it as an ally is not indulgence, it's strategy. There's a case where your best move is to refuse the tempo. The other person wants an instant reply, and that pace would produce regret. Use the velvet pause. You say, I want to give this the attention it deserves. I'm going to take 20 minutes and respond thoughtfully. Then you step away, run a 4-4-6 breath, write a 3-sentence draft, and return with your conflict compass visible on the page. The velvet pause protects relationships because it protects you from your fireworks. It feels in the body like a door closing softly instead of a slam. Warmth at the back of the neck replacing heat in the face. When the setting is digital, Slack thread, email barrage, install the thread triage. You sort in this order: safety, scope, schedule. Safety, any message that threatens dignity or legal risk gets a boundary breath and either escalation or a clean line. Scope, clarify what is in versus out with one sentence and a question. Schedule, propose a time-bound next step. You type slowly, 3 breaths between paragraphs. Your amygdala will push to respond to tone. Your compass points you to content. Every time you do this, you teach your RAS to fetch the thing that moves reality, not the thing that moves your temper. Let's bring it back to identity. You are not the upsurge when someone else's voice lifts. You are the awareness that can anchor in value, translate heat into signal, and choose the smallest wise move. Repeat it under your breath. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the steward of pace. You are the person who can carry both care and clarity in the same sentence. Feel how that lands in your ribs, a subtle expansion, like a window cracking open in a stuffy room. Close this session with the conversation drill you'll run for the next 24 hours. Pick one low to medium stakes interaction and rehearse aloud for 60 seconds before it happens. Speak your north, your east question, your west statement, your south boundary. Hum once. Then in the interaction, collect 2 micro-essays and make 1 laid offer. After, jot 2 lines, what signal you heard, what lever you chose. This is not performance. This is rep. Your amygdala respects reps the way muscles do. You are training cadence, not just content. And when you're surprised, because days love to surprise, Let the words that live in your pocket do their work. Sounds like there's a lot here. What outcome would feel like progress by today? While they answer, breathe 446 once. Touch your anchor word. Remember your compass points. Then pick the smallest wise move that protects your value and the relationship together. That's leadership in a voice-sized package. You'll still feel heat. You'll still have days when you miss a step and say the thing you didn't mean. When that happens, repair quickly. Two-track apology. Reorient. Re-enter. Peace isn't the absence of friction. It's the growing confidence that you can steer through it without betraying yourself. The more you practice, the more your nervous system will preload these sequences, and the room will feel it before you speak. That is practical neuroscience becoming everyday peace, felt in your breath, heard in your tone, seen in your choices. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and you are allowed to slow the moment down until your wisdom can catch up with your words. The mind wants to be everywhere at once. Your thumb reaches for the phone before you know it moved. A tab breeds 3 more tabs. Your thoughts graffiti the walls with half-finished sentences. Distraction feels personal, like a character flaw, yet it's biological drift. The amygdala scans for novelty because novelty could be threat or opportunity, and dopamine tilts your attention toward the next shiny thing. Today you'll turn drift into direction. We'll build 2 frameworks that make focus feel kind instead of brittle. The focus anchor and the 30-90 focus sprint. One gives your nervous system a home base, the other gives it a race it can finish. You're not chasing perfect concentration, you're training reliable returns. Begin with the body, because focus is physical. Sit or stand a little taller. Imagine a thread lifting the crown of your head and a warm weight at the base of your spine. Place your tongue gently against the roof of your mouth and let your jaw slacken. Take 1-4-4-6 breath. On the exhale, let your gaze soften until you notice the edges of the room, peripheral vision widening like curtains parting. Then bring your eyes to a single point the size of a coin. Feel the shift from wide to narrow. Your optic nerve tugs on your nervous system. A deliberate change in gaze signal tells the amygdala we are choosing the task. This is the somatic door into attention. The focus anchor is a 3-part sentence paired with a tactile cue and a micro-contract. Whisper it like a coach in your own ear. Now I'm doing just this for just this long for just this reason. Just this names the task in a single verb noun. Draft paragraph, reconcile invoices, clean sync, study page 32. Just this long is a realistic bracket, 10, 30, or 90 minutes, never a vague until it's done. Just this reason connects to value, clarity, care, craft, future ease. While you say the sentence, touch a specific spot, thumb to knuckle, palm to desk edge, so your body tags the words with a location. The micro-contract is a promise to your amygdala. When the time ends, we'll check the feeds. You're not swearing off pleasure, you're scheduling it. Scarcity softens when there's a clean promise. Test it now. Choose one small task within reach. Touch thumb to knuckle. Whisper, now I'm doing just this for just this long for just this reason. Feel the desk under your forearms, cool, slightly gritty. Hear a faraway hum, maybe traffic, maybe a vent. Smell the air, the faint paper scent, coffee, rain, start. The anchor is not magic, it's alignment. Each time your attention slides, you return to the tactile cue and repeat the sentence. That repetition is not failure. It is the rep that grows the muscle. To support the anchor, you'll run the 30-90 focus sprint. It has 2 gears. Gear 1 is the foundational 30, a 30-minute block with a 4-4-6 breath at the start, a midway micro stand and shoulder roll at minute 15, and a 2-minute post-sprint reflection. Gear 2 is the deep 90, 90 minutes broken into 3 30-minute laps, each lap starting with your anchor sentence and ending with a 10-breath reset. 90 is for deep work days, not every day. The brain does not need heroics, it needs rhythm. During any sprint, when a stray thought appears, you capture it in a parking lot line on paper, one phrase, no dialogue with it. Your amygdala relaxes when it trusts you won't forget the concern. Listen to the small sounds inside your body, the sticky sip of a swallow, the tiny clicks at the back of your throat, the whisper of fabric when you shift. Feel the weight of your feet like warm stones. In this quieter interior, dopamine's lure has less pull. That's not because you killed dopamine, it's because you gave it a prize to chase, a finish line and a reason. When tasks end, dopamine peaks. You will create many small finish lines so the system feeds your focus instead of fracturing it. A story to walk this in. Jordan writes code. He starts with good intentions, then pings multiply, issue tracker, chat, calendar overlays. He tells himself he needs to be responsive. His day dissolves into reactive fragments. Today he tries a deep 90 for a critical module. He clears his desk except for a notepad and a glass of water. He hums once low, feeling his chest vibrate. Thumb to knuckle, now I'm doing just this for just this long for just this reason. Just this, implement and test the parser. Just this long, 93 laps. Just this reason, protect Friday from chaos. Lap 1 minute 10, a ping lands. He writes, ops question in the parking lot returns. Lap 2, his mind whispers, what if it breaks prod? He runs the 90-second weather rule within the sprint. Breath, label, anticipatory anxiety, fact. It's a feature branch, lever, write a unit test. Lap 3, he feels his shoulders climb toward his ears. He stops for 10 breaths, rolls them back, returns. At minute 90, he closes the loop and stands. Somatically, warmth across the upper back, a soft heaviness in the thighs, a clear, clean tired. He answers the ops ping with a calmer brain. He did fight distraction. He led it. Why this works softly? The amygdala loves novelty because novelty could be danger. But the prefrontal cortex loves sequence. When you create a ritual, anchor sentence, tactile cue, time bracket, you reduce uncertainty. Reduced uncertainty dampens amygdala alarms. The reticular system then spots task-relevant cues more readily, while the basal ganglia handle the micro-movements that make repetition easier. That's the science, tucked inside a method you can run before coffee. Add the distraction dissection when a lure won't let go. You ask 3 questions, quiet and clinical. What is the promised reward? What is the hidden cost? What is a 60-second version of this reward I can schedule for later? Example, social feed promises novelty and belonging. Cost is fragmented thought and a jittery aftertaste. 60-second version, text one friend a voice note at 12:30. You're not scolding yourself, you're feeding the need on purpose. The amygdala calms when belonging and play are promised a place. Take a sensory beat. Stretch your fingers wide until the webbing wakes, then let them float down. Feel the cool air brush your inner forearms. Let your eyes close for half a second and picture a clean, sunlit room behind your eyes, your sanctuary. In that room there's a wooden desk, a single sheet of paper, a pencil. The pencil scratches as you draw a small box. You write one task inside that box. When you open your eyes, that image lingers. Your nervous system has a friendlier map for focus. We'll add a second framework to protect your attention budget, the cue-intent pairing. Every time you sit down to work or shift tasks, you speak one sentence that pairs your cue with your intention. When my laptop opens, I write one messy first line. When the meeting starts, I ask the outcome question in the first 2 minutes. When I enter the kitchen at night, I put a glass of water on the counter before reaching for anything else. The pairing moves habits from wishful to mechanical. Your amygdala loves predictability, The pairing is a promise it can rely on. If you forget and slip, no drama, you catch the next cue and pair again. Repetition is the road. Another story, domestic. Late afternoon, the house has that tired hum. The sink is a small mountain. The mind wants to scroll. Sam feels the urge to open a shopping app for a minute. Distraction, dissection. Reward is novelty and a tiny hit of control. Cost is an hour lost and a pang later. 60-second version. Step outside and feel sunlight on skin. Focus, anchor, just this clear sink. Just this long, 20 minutes with music. Just this reason. Future Sam deserves a gentler evening. Thumb to knuckle, he starts. Music softens edges. At minute 10, the urge returns. He writes garden hose in the parking lot. At minute 20, small finish line. Dopamine pays out. He texts a friend his micro-win. The night changes shape. Notice breath again. Cool on the in-breath, warm on the out. The lower ribs expanding like book covers, opening, then closing. Pay attention to your calves, flex and release. Feel your seat. Imagine the chair, a steady hand under you. These bodily anchors keep your cortex online when the task gets gritty. Grit is easier to cultivate when the body knows it won't be abandoned. Sometimes focus is stolen by noise you can't control. Open plan chatter, traffic, notifications that aren't yours. Here, install the sensory shield. It has 3 layers: sound, sight, and skin. For sound, choose a steady texture, brown noise, rainfall, a low instrumental loop, so your auditory system stops scanning for spikes. For sight, remove peripheral bait. Put the phone in a drawer or face down in another room. Set one tab to full screen. For skin, add a small, consistent pressure, a light scarf, a weighted lap blanket, a snug hoodie that whispers held to your nervous system. The shield isn't precious, it's practical. Your amygdala hears rhythm and pressure as safety cues. Let's talk about energy dips. Afternoon slumps are not a character flaw, they're body budget realities. Glycogen dips, posture sags, vision narrows. You will install the 2-point reset, sunlight and spine. If you can, step into daylight for 2 minutes and look at a distance to relax your ciliary muscles. If you can't, look out a window to the farthest point you can see. Then do a spinal wave, sitting or standing, curl from tailbone to head and unroll slowly, breathing 4-4-6 once. The reset restores focus for a short block. Pair it with a foundational 30 and you will rescue an afternoon. If your work involves constant context switching, adopt the doorframe ritual. Every time you pass through a doorway, literal or digital, you touch the frame or the desk edge and speak the anchor sentence for the next micro task. Now I'm doing just this, for just this long, for just this reason. This stitches your day into intentional segments. Your nervous system stops feeling like a spilled box of marbles and starts feeling like a string of beads. Consider Layla, a nurse on a hectic ward. Alarms chirp, families ache, documentation stacks. Focus feels like a fantasy. She cannot carve a 90-minute block. She can carve 90 seconds. Before each room she touches the doorframe. Anchor just this, vitals and reassurance, just this long 3 minutes, just this reason, dignity. She breathes once, softens her gaze, enters. Between rooms, she runs the 2-point reset by glancing down the corridor and rolling her shoulders once. At the charting station, she uses a foundational 30 when possible, parking stray thoughts on a sticky note. At shift end, though her body is spent, her mind is less shredded. The difference is not the absence of chaos, it's the presence of rituals that restore agency. Take another sensory pause. What is the temperature at the back of your neck? Is there a line of cool air along your forearms? Can you feel your heart beat without touching? If not, see if it appears when you quiet for 2 breaths. The intimacy of attention with your body is not self-involvement. It is signal training. You are teaching your RAS to register internal cues with the same interest it has for notifications. That self-listening is the keel that stabilizes the boat. If you become hyper-focused and forget to release, focus flips into tension. Install the gentle brake. When your timer ends, close your eyes and inhale through the nose for 4, exhale through pursed lips for 8, as if pushing air through a straw. Whisper, satisfied enough. Satisfaction is not lying about quality, it's acknowledging completion for this bracket. You stand, shake your hands, roll ankles, look at something green or far. The brake prevents the amygdala from tying focus to strain. It keeps focus associated with flow and relief, which makes next time easier to begin. On days when your mind is foggy and the anchor sentence feels like cardboard, use the friction melt. You reduce the start friction to 5 seconds of motion that touches the task. Open the file and type the date. Lay out the invoice folder and click the first name. Rinse the first cup in the sink. 5 seconds is enough to flip a switch in the basal ganglia, and momentum, even small, is mercy. Your identity shift lives here. You are not someone who can't focus. You are the awareness that creates containers your nervous system trusts. You are the person who chooses an anchor, promises a finish line, and keeps that promise gently. Repeat that under your breath, I am the one who returns. When the mind strays, you do not whip it. You gather it the way you'd guide a child across a street. Firm hand, warm tone, eyes on the curb. Close with a drill you'll run today. Pick one task you've been dodging. Set a foundational 30. Before you start, write your anchor sentence longhand. Touch your tactile cue. Build a sensory shield if needed. Begin. When distraction arrives, place it in the parking lot. If a hot thought lingers, dissect it for reward, cost, and a scheduled 60-second version later. At minute 15, stand and roll your shoulders once, eyes to a far point. At minute 30, run the gentle brake and write 3 lines. What I did, what helped, what to tweak. That's it. You do not make this mythical. You make it routine. And if you fail, if the sprint breaks, if you scroll anyway, you use the reset of grace. Name it, breathe once, start a 5-minute micro-sprint, end it clean. Momentum beats self-judgment every time. Your amygdala will gradually prefer the feeling of completion to the food court buffet of novelty because you keep handing it small wins that taste like relief. This is not about ascetic denial. It's about directing a powerful, playful system toward the life you actually want. Focus is not a personality, it's a practice. You are practicing, and the more you practice, the more your body recognizes the signal of we're doing just this and answers with stillness you can feel, wider breath, softer forehead, a pleasant heaviness in your thighs, a mind that says, oh, this. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and now you are the steward of your attention. The world will still try to scatter you, you will still drift, but you will return again and again with kindness and craft. That's how everyday peace becomes a way of working, not a daydream you only meet on vacations. The voice in your head can sound like a drill sergeant with a megaphone and terrible timing. It barks when you're already tired, shames you when you're learning, and predicts disaster with the confidence of someone who's never met nuance. That voice is not you. It's a mixture of old alarms, borrowed tones, and a brain trying to keep you safe by pre-scolding you before the world can. Today you'll learn to talk to that voice without becoming it. We'll build 2 frameworks, critic to scout and the evidence ledger. The first transforms harsh inner commentary into useful guidance. The second collects real data so your reticular activating system stops cherry-picking failure. You won't sugarcoat reality. You'll sift it, then steer. Start with the body because inner language is embodied. Notice your mouth from the inside, the shape of your tongue, the soft palate lifting, the slight dryness or slickness. Relax your jaw by 0.5 centimeter, as if you're holding a blueberry between your molars and don't want to crush it. Take 1-4-4-6 breath and feel the air cool your nasal passages, warm your upper lip on the exhale. As your face softens, your tone, yes, even the silent tone of thought, softens. You are priming the same vagal brake we've used before. Now picture your inner room, a small study with warm light, a desk, a window cracked open. The voice that enters here will follow your posture. Sit like you're about to help, not punish. Critic to Scout has 4 moves. First, you recognize the critic's voice by its signatures, absolutes, insults, and a threat forecast delivered at speed. Always, never, pathetic, they'll see. Second, you breathe once and demote it. This is my primitive alarm trying to help. Third, you translate it into a Scout report, specific, forward-looking, aimed at the smallest wise move. Fourth, you reply with one sentence that names value and action. I value craft, so I'll tighten the opening paragraph for 5 minutes. The translation is the alchemy. You're a fraud becomes, we're entering a skills stretch, run a mini rep and a check. You are not debating feelings with logic. You're redirecting protective energy into a task. Try it now. Hear a recent inner barb. You're always behind. Pause 4-4-6. Demote, primitive alarm. Translate, timeline unclear. Choose a 30-minute sprint and surface dependencies. Reply, I value reliability. In the next half hour, I'll map the top 3 dependencies. Feel the shift in your body as the sentence lands. Less fizz in the solar plexus, more weight in your thighs, a steadier breath. This isn't pep talk. It's posture plus precision. Take a sensory beat. Rub your thumb slowly along the ridge of your index finger. Notice the tiny ridges of your fingerprint, the faint squeak of skin. Let your eyes rest on one neutral object with texture, a mug, a book spine, a leaf. The mind follows the eyes follow the body. When you anchor in detail, your RAS stops scanning for proof of doom and starts collecting proof of reality. You'll harness that with the evidence ledger. The evidence ledger is a daily 2-minute practice that rebases your attention using facts. Split a page in 2 columns. Left column, signal. Right column, skill. Signal are observations that something is working, responses you got, moments you regulated, tiny completions. Skill are actions you took, breaths, questions, reps that built the signal. Each evening you write 3 pairs. Signal, I asked for a clearer outcome in the meeting. Skill, conflict compass plus East question. Signal, I wrote 400 words. Skill, focus anchor plus foundational 30. Signal, I didn't send the midnight text. Skill, midnight fridge drill. Pairing them teaches your nervous system that good outcomes are not luck. They're tied to repeatable behaviors. Over a week, your inner voice has data to reference. The critic loses its monopoly. The scout gets promoted. Here's a story. Late Sunday afternoon, inbox swelling, laundry a small mountain, your chest tight like a band. The critic shows up with that old swagger. Everyone else is catching up, you're falling behind. You feel heat climb your neck. Historically, you doom scroll for an hour and feel worse. Today you try critic to scout. Recognize absolutes and insult. Demote, primitive alarm trying to protect status. Translate, we need one lever to shrink perceived backlog. Reply, I value progress. I'll run a 20-minute triage and schedule 3 blocks. You set a timer, put the phone in a drawer, breathe 4-4-6 once. In 20 minutes, you star 5 messages, archive 21, schedule 2 foundational 30 blocks for Monday, and leave 1 voice note to a teammate. In your body, the band around your chest loosens. the world returns to color from grayscale. You didn't prove the critic wrong with a manifesto. You gave it a job and made it proud. Science bridge without jargon. Negativity bias makes the amygdala weight potential losses heavier than equivalent gains. That's ancestral math. The RAS then highlights stimuli that match your watchlist, threat, and error. If your watchlist reads "How I'm failing," your RAS delivers failure frames. When you change the watchlist to signals of support and skills I control, your attention feeds you different evidence. Neuroplasticity follows attention. The circuits you run become easier to run. Critic to scout plus the evidence ledger are watchlist editors. The practice is small, so you will actually do it. Take another body beat. Place one palm flat on your sternum, one on your low belly. Inhale to the lower hand, exhale longer than you want to. Feel the skin under your top hand warm slightly. If your shoulders want to rise, let them, then guide them down your back like sliding a curtain. Hear one sound far away, one near, one inside. The critic can't shout over presence if you keep returning to it. We'll add a microphrase that untangles identity from moment. Swap "I am" for "I notice" or "I'm having the thought that." "I am scattered" becomes "I notice scattering energy." "I am anxious" becomes "I'm having anxious thoughts and tightness in my chest." This tiny linguistic move reduces fusion with state. The amygdala hears, there is sensation, there is observer. Space opens. In that space, you can run your protocols. This isn't dodging responsibility. It's removing the glue between you and the hottest sentence in your head. Consider a colleague, Priya. She leads a demo to a skeptical client. 2 minutes in, a widget lags. The critic inside spikes, "You're blowing it." Jaw tight, breath shallow, she feels the familiar collapse. She's been practicing. In her inner room, she demotes the barb. Primitive alarm. Translate. We need one calm sentence and a micro buffer. Out loud, steady pace. Give me 10 seconds to refresh so you see the latest build. She hums once under her breath, a low resonance behind her lips. She runs the 90-second holding pattern on the room, slow cadence, gentle gaze. The widget returns. After the meeting, she makes an evidence ledger pair. Signal, client asked follow-up questions instead of ending early. Skill, mirror label lead plus hum reset. That night, when the critic tries to replay the lag, there's a ledger entry to counter with, "Not a fantasy, a fact." Let's put a flashlight on shame because the critic feeds on it. Shame says "I am bad," not "I did a thing that had an impact." When shame takes the wheel, learning stalls. Use the 2-track debrief, cousin to the 2-track apology but done with yourself. Track 1, impact facts, what happened, what the effects were. Track 2, commitments, what you'll run next time. Say it aloud in a warm tone. "I missed the deadline, the team had to compress testing, that created stress. Next time, I'll flag risk at 50% and ask for a constraint." Notice your breath after. There's a heaviness, yes, but it's the heaviness of grounding, not the crushing of contempt. Your nervous system can work with that. Sensory pause. Feel the temperature at the nape of your neck. Trace with awareness the rim of your left ear. Press your toes into the floor and let them spread, then release. Notice the faint pulse in your fingertips if you hold them near your temples. These are thin threads back to the present. When you hold threads, storms don't own the sky. To reinforce critic to scout, we'll install the tandem journaling drill, 90 seconds morning and night. In the morning, write your scout's brief. Environment, X objective, Y constraints, Z smallest Y's move, A at night, write the evidence ledger pairs. This keeps your internal team in sync. The scout on hilltops at dawn, the archivist by lamplight at dusk. 2 minutes each, pen on paper if possible. Paper slows you, and slowness is the friend of accuracy. A relationship example. You forgot an anniversary date. The critic wakes with a cudgel, you don't care. Flood arrives, hot cheeks, hollow gut. Critic to scout, demote, translate. Alarm says bond at risk. Smallest wise move, name it, repair. Two-track apology. I missed the date, that hurt, I care about us. I'm setting a shared calendar and planning a makeup dinner Friday. Does that help? Evidence ledger that night. Signal, repair accepted. Skill, two-track apology plus boundary breath to keep tone steady. The critic has less to chew on when you feed the repair. Sometimes the critic wears your parents' voices, a teacher, a boss. You don't argue with ghosts. You install the door guard. Before heavy tasks, you imagine a doorway to your inner room. You appoint a guard with your face and your best friend's eyes. The guard has one rule: only voices that speak in clear, specific, respectful terms may enter. Harsh, vague, globalized attacks get redirected. If you have a concrete request, bring it back. This imagination seems childish until you notice your breath ease and your shoulders drop. Your amygdala responds to symbols. Give it one that says, "We protect this space." Take another breath. Feel the air travel the back of your throat like a cool ribbon. Let your belly soften on the inhale and gently contract on the exhale. If you're sitting, scoot 2 inches forward so your spine does some of the holding, not just the chair. Let your hands rest palms down on your thighs, noticing the skin-to-fabric contact, the slight drag when you move. These physical specifics keep your language honest. You cannot bully yourself into peace. We'll add gratitude in shadow, a fast practice that defuses the critic without pretending everything is great. Pick one difficult moment from today. Name one thing within it you are quietly grateful for, not a silver lining, a thread. The meeting derailed, and I'm grateful I caught myself before blaming. The kid melted down, and I'm grateful for the 5 seconds I remembered to breathe. This trains your RAs to find workable ground in messy fields. Gratitude here is not confession, it's calibration. A quick workplace scene. You submit a draft, receive red lines, your chest drops, the critic whispers, they think you're incompetent. You breathe, critic to scout translation. We're being asked to raise clarity. Smallest wise move, mirror label lead in your reply. You write, I'm hearing we need tighter transitions and clearer claims. If I revise intro and sections 2 and 4 by 3 p.m., will that address the core concern? Micro yes comes back. Yes. Night ledger, signal, revision accepted with minimal follow-ups. Skill, mirror label lead plus focus anchor. Over time, red lines become collaboration, not condemnation. If the critic spikes during rest, bedtime brain, 2 a.m. audit, use the 3-box night tray. On a piece of paper, draw 3 boxes labeled now, not now, and never mind. Write each worry into a box. Now gets 1-4-4-6 breath and a single next step if truly urgent. Not now gets a calendar time. Never mind gets a line through it and a tiny flourish. Your amygdala loves containers. The tray is a set of containers. Pair with the midnight fridge drill if your thumbs itch to type. Sleep is not laziness. It's your body budget's biggest deposit. Identity turn woven through everything. You are not the critic. You are the awareness that hears it and chooses your language. When you speak to yourself with clarity and respect, you're not going soft. You're turning fear into fuel. Repeat, I am the observer behind the weather, not the weather itself. I talk to my amygdala like a friend I lead. Feel that sentence settle in your ribs. Notice a warmth at the upper back, a softening around the eyes. Your nervous system recognizes leadership by tone more than by vocabulary. Give it a tone it trusts. Close with today's drill. For 24 hours, every time you catch a harsh sentence in your head, run the critic to scout in under 30 seconds. Recognize, breathe, demote, translate, reply. That evening, fill 3 evidence ledger pairs. If you forget, do 1 pair in the morning, repair, don't berate. Bonus. Once today, practice gratitude in shadow on a moment that isn't pretty. Whisper your anchor identity line before sleep. You will still misstep. You will still hear the megaphone at the worst time. But the more you practice, the faster you'll place a hand over the mic, lower the volume, and hand the scout the map. Your life doesn't require a flawless narrator. It requires a steady one. And that steadiness is learned, somatic cue by cue, sentence by sentence, day by day, until the inner room becomes a sanctuary you can trust, and your amygdala learns to bring questions instead of accusations. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the one who chooses the words inside your head. Choose ones that build the bridge you need to walk across. Your peace doesn't just live in thoughts and breath. It lives in your body's budget, the fuel behind every wise choice. When the budget is low, the amygdala becomes an accountant who panics at every transaction. Little things feel huge because there's not enough glucose, sleep, or sunlight to buffer the noise. Today you'll learn to fund calm so it's easier to find it. We'll build 2 frameworks, the body budget protocol and the boundary bank. One stabilizes your physiology so your alarm doesn't overfire. The other protects that stability in contact with a demanding world. This isn't self-care as a slogan. It's energy math you can feel in your ribcage. Start by checking the numbers you can sense. Scan from toes to crown. Notice the heaviness in your calves, the temperature at your wrists, the tightness or softness of your belly. Take 1 4-4-6 breath and listen for the faint click at the back of your throat as the air moves. Smell the room, coffee, dust, rain, your own skin. Let your shoulders drop a finger's width. You're not chasing comfort. You're measuring the budget with interoception, your brain's way of reading the body. Accurate reads lead to accurate responses. Inaccurate reads lead to drama. The body budget protocol has 3 verbs that loop: reset, refuel, restore. Reset is immediate regulation, breath, posture, temperature. Refuel is inputs, water, protein, light, movement. Restore is deeper deposits, sleep architecture, social warmth, nature. When your alarm spikes, you reset first. 4-4-6 breath, widen your gaze, run water over your wrists for 30 seconds, or step into cooler air. Once the red meter dips, you refuel with a controllable input. Drink a full glass of water and a pinch of salt if you've sweat. Eat something with protein and fiber if the last meal was a mirage. Step outside for bright light that tells your circadian clock it's daytime. Then you plan restore even if it's modest. A bedtime you protect by closing screens early, a walk under trees, a call with someone who knows your laugh. This is not indulgence, it is prefrontal funding. Here's the quiet neuroscience. Allostatic load, the wear and tear from chronic stress, pushes your amygdala into hair trigger mode. Sleep loss makes threat detectors louder and empathy circuits quieter. Low blood sugar mimics anxiety. Dehydration steals attention. Sunlight in your morning retinas sets a timer in your suprachiasmatic nucleus that pays out melatonin at night. When you align with these simple levers, you're not hacking biology, you're cooperating with it. The result is a mind that answers your protocols faster because the body isn't shouting over them. Take a sensory beat. Place your palms on your cheeks for 2 breaths and feel the warmth pool under your skin. Slide them down to the back of your neck and notice the tendons soften. Listen for 1 far sound, a truck, a bird, a vent, and 1 near sound, the tiny creak in your chair, your own breath. Let your jaw hang open for a moment and then bring your teeth near without clenching. Small muscles, big messages. Your vagus nerve hears the story your body tells and relays it to your amygdala. We're resourced. We're okay. The boundary bank converts energy into choices you can keep. Think of every yes as a withdrawal and every clean no as a deposit. When your budget is flush, you can spend more freely. When it's low, you protect the account. The method has 3 steps: state, swap, seal. State is the clear line in one sentence that names value and limit. Swap is an alternative that preserves relationship while protecting bandwidth. Seal is a gentle closing cadence that prevents back and forth when your amygdala is most persuadable. I value quality and I can't take this on by Friday. I can review the outline Monday morning instead. I'm going to lock today to finish the current deliverable. That's a state, a swap, a seal, not a debate. A boundary is not a door slam. It's a frame. Story time. An entrepreneur named Malik runs on fumes for a week, living on coffee and adrenaline. By Thursday, the smallest Slack ping spikes his heart like a fire alarm. Investors want a deck revision. A big client nudges for quick changes. His partner texts about a family event. The world's volume is up because his budget is down. He feels the urge to say yes to everything and sprint until something breaks. He catches himself. Reset, he stands, does a slow spinal wave, breathes 446 twice, splashes cool water on his face. Refuel, he eats a real lunch, protein, greens, salt, drinks 2 glasses of water, steps into daylight for 3 minutes. Restore, he looks at the evening and chooses a 10 p.m. lights out with phone out of reach. Then he runs the boundary bank with the client. State, to keep quality high, I can't turn full edits by tomorrow. Swap, I can deliver a prioritized pass on the hero section by noon, then a complete revision Tuesday. Seal, I'll send the hero pass by 12. He expects pushback. Instead, the client agrees. His heart rate drops. His amygdala learns a lesson. Clarity preserves relationships more often than panic does. Check your own body again. Feel the fabric on your forearms, the way the chair meets your sit bones. Wiggle your toes until they wake. Let your eyes soften and find a square of light on a wall or the grain in a tabletop. When you anchor in sensation, you become less bribable by urgency. Boundaries stick better in a body that feels present. There's a micro drill inside the protocol that rescues afternoons, the 3x3 feed. Every 3 hours, you run 3 small inputs, 8 long exhales, 8 ounces of water, 30 seconds of daylight or distance gazing. It takes under 3 minutes. Stack it with a foundational 30 and you'll feel your attention improve on a measurable slope. The subjective experience is a curious one. Heat leaves your cheeks, your hands tingle less, your breath finds the bottom of your lungs. The amygdala stops waving its arms because the adult is paying the bills. Another story, domestic and honest. Evening, your kid melts down over homework, the dog barks, a pan hisses on the stove. The old script is to get sharper in your voice, to try to control 3 things at once, and then to feel the shame hang over after. Tonight, you treat it as a budget problem. Reset, burner off 2 long exhales, palms on the cool counter, eyes to the far corner of the room. Refuel, a sip of water, a bite of something real. Restore, you text your friend to confirm a walk tomorrow. Then you state a boundary kindly, I want to help and I won't shout, we're pausing 5 minutes. Swap, we'll do the first 2 problems together after that. Seal, timer starts now. The room exhale is audible. You didn't become a saint. You became a manager of a nervous system budget. Your amygdala, seeing you manage the ledger, stands down. Take a breath and feel the cool thread travel behind your nose. Notice the weight behind your sternum. Let the exhale lengthen until you feel the belly draw in gently. Press your fingertips together, and feel the pads yield. The details matter because they tell your midbrain we are resourced enough to notice. That is the opposite of panic. Build the boundary bank with simple rehearsals. In a quiet moment, speak 3 versions of no that match your values. If you value generosity, your no will include a path forward. If you value focus, your no will include a timeline. Speak them at half speed, hum once between sentences to lower your cadence. The rehearsal rewires your mouth so it can form calm words under heat. Your RAS will begin to surface phrases you've practiced when you need them, like a well-trained dog that knows where the leash is. Let's add a cousin tool to the protocol, the temperature tilt. When agitation surges, change your temperature on purpose, cool water on wrists, a cold glass pressed to your neck, a splash on your face, a minute near a fan, or if you're chilled and numb, warm your hands around a mug or step into sun. Thermoreceptors whisper to deep brain circuits faster than logic. The feeling is immediate. Edges blur, breath lengthens, urgency deflates. Pair temperature tilt with 1 round of 4-4-6, and you're back to a human. In the workplace, you can protect your budget with the meeting diet. Your amygdala confuses being looped in with safety, and you say yes to every calendar square. The diet is not starvation, it's intention. Before accepting, you run a 10-second question. What's the outcome I will enable? If you can't name it, you offer a swap. I'll send a 2-paragraph briefing and be on call for 10 minutes at the end. Then you seal, if you need more, book me next week. And the result is not always fewer meetings, but it's almost always better ones. The budget saves glucose for decisions that matter. Feel the room again. Is there an air current on your ankles? Is your tongue stuck to the roof of your mouth? If so, let it drop. Can you hear a bird, a car, a hallway footstep? Let one distant sound be a ribbon that tethers you to context. Your amygdala calms when it senses environment, not just thought. Sometimes no feels dangerous because old memories link refusal with rejection. That's why the boundary bank includes a memory recode. After you set a boundary and the world doesn't end, you mark it in your evidence ledger. Signal, they accepted Tuesday. Skill, state swap seal. You read 3 of these before your next hard conversation. Your RAS arrives in the room already biased toward possibility. The body follows, shoulders lower, heat stays in check, voice slows. There's a harder moment to name, when you betray your own boundary. You say yes because you want to be liked. You stay late when you promised yourself you'd leave. Instead of contempt, run the 2-track debrief with yourself. Impact first, I'm exhausted and snappier at home. Commitment then, next time I'll say, I can start at 9 tomorrow and close my laptop now. Then reset, refuel, restore. Make a deposit tonight, not a speech. Peace grows faster from deposits than from self-flagellation. Consider Tessa, a new manager. She thinks leadership means being available always. Her battery craters by 3 p.m. and small slights feel like knives. She starts the body budget protocol on her calendar, 10 minutes of sunlight with coffee at 8:30, a 3x3 feed alarm at 11 and 2, a short walk to a far window before each one-on-one. She writes 3 boundary bank phrases on a card. To protect delivery, I can't add this today. I can offer X on Monday. I can stay for 10 more minutes. After that, I'm unavailable. I want this to succeed. Here's the constraint I need. In 2 weeks, she notices fewer spirals. The surprises still come. Her nervous system doesn't tip as easily. The identity shift sneaks up. She feels like the adult in the room, not because she controls others, but because she budgets herself. Give your system one more sensory gift right now. Close your eyes for a breath and picture sunlight sheet across a wooden floor. Hear a kettle beginning to whisper. Feel a cup warm your palms. Open your eyes and let the light in the actual room be enough. The difference between overwhelm and steadiness is often one micro-deposit earlier than you think. If the day chews you up anyway, install the repair ritual that closes the ledger with kindness. Before bed, stand barefoot, feel the cool floor. Put one hand on your heart and one on your belly. Whisper, I did enough for today. Inhale 4, exhale 8 through pursed lips. Note 1 reset you ran, 1 refuel you gave, 1 restore your promising tomorrow. Write them on a sticky note and put it on the bathroom mirror. That note is not motivational decoration. It's a receipt your amygdala can trust in the morning. You are not a machine that should run perfectly regardless of input. You are a living system with budgets and buffers. When you honor them, your protocols work faster and your relationships feel safer. Boundaries stop being dramatic events and become the normal shape of respect. The world won't applaud every deposit, but your nervous system will. It will pay you back with a steadier pulse, a quieter jaw, a gaze that widens when the moment tightens. That is peace with muscles. Say it under your breath as a final calibration. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are also the steward of your budget. You don't have to earn rest with collapse. You fund your days with Reset Refuel Restore, and you guard those funds with State Swap Seal. When the alarm barks, you listen, you check the ledger, and you lead. That's practical neuroscience in the body, not just the head. That's everyday peace you can feel in your bones. Setbacks don't just bruise your plans, they bruise your body. The email with bad news lands and your stomach drops a full floor. Your scalp tightens. Vision tunnels like someone dimmed the room. The amygdala reads loss as threat, and it fires a flare that steals blood from your problem-solving brain. The next minutes decide your next week. Will you spiral into self-story, I always mess this up? Or will you run a sequence that lets you metabolize the hit and move wisely? Today you'll learn to do both, grieve without drowning and reorient without denial. We'll build 2 frameworks, the Aftershock Protocol and the 3R loop. One settles your nervous system in the first 15 minutes after a hit. The other carries you through the next day with clean action. This is not optimism cosplay. It's practical resilience you can feel in your breath. Begin in the body because the story lives there first. Let your jaw go slack for a moment. Inhale through your nose for 4, hold for 4, exhale through pursed lips for 8. On the exhale, imagine heat leaving the cheeks like steam off asphalt after rain. Place 1 palm on your sternum, 1 on your belly. Notice which hand rises more. If the top hand moves first, invite the lower hand to catch up on the next breath. Scan for pressure points, a band around the ribs, a knot under the left shoulder blade, a fizz behind the eyes. You aren't fixing anything yet. You're measuring the wave so you can surf it. The Aftershock Protocol has 3 phases: ground, name, contain, run in that order and completed in under 15 minutes. Ground is physical. You locate 3 points of contact that can hold you, feet on floor, back against chair, palm on wood. You widen your gaze to include the room's edges and find 1 straight line in your field, window frame, shelf, door jamb, and trace it with your eyes. This signals orientation to the midbrain. We are in a room, not in a memory. Name is linguistic. You say out loud if possible, I'm having the thought that this is catastrophic, and I feel heat in my face and a drop in my stomach. Labeling reduces limbic load. It moves you from being the weather to observing it. Contain is time-bound. You set a timer for 90 seconds and run the 90-second weather rule. No decisions, no emails. You breathe 4-4-6. You notice 3 neutral facts in the room, and you let the first wave peak and soften. When the timer ends, you choose the smallest wise move that protects either dignity or data. Feel the air moving along the inside ridge of your nostrils. Hear a far sound, the hum of an appliance, a car outside, a hallway footstep, and a near sound, the soft fabric shift as you breathe. Let your shoulders drop the distance of a coin. The body gives you edges when the moment tries to erase them. With edges, you can hold shape. An example makes it clear. Elena receives a terse message. We're moving forward without your proposal. Her neck flushes, her hands go cold. The story leaps. You're not cut out for this. Aftershock Protocol. Ground both feet flat, back against chair, palm on desk. Gaze at the window frame, trace the vertical line. Name, I'm having the thought that this means I'm failing. I feel a pit in my stomach. Contain 90 seconds, 446 breath, 3 facts. It's 2:14 p.m. The window is streaked from last night's rain. My laptop is warm under my wrists. When the timer ends, she chooses one smallest wise move that protects data. Archive the rejection, open the notes from the call, write 3 bullet reasons they chose another vendor. Then one that protects dignity. Text a friend a single sentence. Gotta know, doing the next right thing. The wave doesn't vanish. It loses its teeth. Her prefrontal cortex gets a seat back at the table. There's science under this kindness. Prediction error is expensive. When reality swerves from expectation, the brain dumps chemical alerts to force an update. If you try to problem solve while the alert sirens blare, you make decisions to make feelings stop, not to make outcomes better. Aftershock gives your midbrain enough signal, edges, labels, time boundaries to downgrade the siren to a beep. Then you can actually update the model. What happened, what matters, what's next. Take another sensory beat. Slide your palms down your thighs and feel the drag of fabric. Press your tongue lightly to the roof of your mouth and then let it fall. Note the temperature at the back of your neck, cooler near hairline, warmer under collar. Imagine a window cracking open behind your eyes. Light enters. It's small, but it's enough. Now the 3R loop. Recognize, repair, recommit. Recognize is not just I failed. It's a crisp inventory of the vectors, effort, strategy, timing, context. You say, effort was high, strategy was partial, timing clashed with a holiday, context shifted because budget froze. The amygdala calms when blame becomes buckets. Repair addresses impact to self and others. To self, sleep tonight, real food, gentle movement, 1 hour phone-free, a page for the evidence ledger. To others, a 2-track apology or a clarity note where appropriate. Recommit is value forward. You name the principle you're carrying and the next 2-inch step. I value craft. I'll iterate the proposal's opening hook for 10 minutes and book 2 discovery calls. You run the loop once the aftershock wave has dipped, same day if possible. You don't need a clean mood to begin. You need a clean sequence. Here's a scene at a kitchen table. You promised yourself a run of early mornings to work on a certification. Day 3, you sleep through the alarm. The critic winds up the pitch. Before it throws, you recognize effort yesterday was high, strategy was brittle, late night scrolling, timing was off, late call, context was noisy, neighbor's party. Repair, 15-minute walk at lunch to keep the rhythm of movement, push bedtime up by 30 minutes, phone in another room. Recommit, I value follow-through. Tonight I'll prep the desk, set a single alarm, and begin with a 5-minute friction melt. Open file, type the date. The state in your body after speaking this isn't triumph. It's steadier, breath that reaches lower ribs, less sting in the eyes, a sense of ground under your next step. Touch the wood near you, or the plastic, or metal, feel the coolness or room temperature neutrality. Scan for scent, paper, detergent, ozone after rain. Listen for silence, which is never silent but a low bed of sound. These tiny perceptions are handles. Your hand finds them when the mental load is heavy. Add a companion technique to Aftershock that honors loss without drowning in it. Micro-mourning and move. You give yourself 90 seconds to feel the texture of the loss without narration. Eyes closed, you place a hand where the ache resides. You say, "Of course this hurts." You breathe and imagine the feeling as whether moving across a landscape. When the timer ends, you do one concrete action that points toward value. Send the thank you note anyway, log the lesson, take a brief walk. Mourning acknowledges care. Moving enacts care. Your amygdala trusts leadership that doesn't argue with reality. Consider a different kind of hit, a conversation that went sideways. You meant to set a boundary, you ended up apologizing for having one. The body memory is sharp heat in the face, heaviness in the chest. Aftershock first. Then the 3R loop with a focus on repair. For the other person, a clean follow-up. I wasn't clear earlier. To keep my commitments, I can do X by Tuesday. I can't do Y this week. For yourself, one page in the evidence ledger that links skill to signal. I followed up with clarity. Skill, boundary, bank, state, swap, seal. The repair is not about winning. It's about restoring self-trust. Self-trust feels like length in the breath and less clench in the jaw. Your senses again. Feel the weight of your tongue in your mouth. Roll your shoulders forward and back, slow, listening to the small grind of fascia. If your hands are cold, rub them briskly and feel heat bloom in the palms. Temperature is a lever. It shifts state faster than speeches. Sometimes the hit is chronic, a goal you keep missing. Here you use the pre-mortem and bridge. The pre-mortem is a scout exercise. Imagine it's 6 weeks from now and you didn't make the change. You ask kindly, what made it fail? You list plausible, undramatic reasons. Friction at 6 a.m., no social accountability, environment cues wrong, energy budget misread. Then you draw the bridge, one design tweak per failure reason. Friction prep the night before and run a 5-second friction melt. Accountability, message a friend with a photo of your first page each morning. Environment, doorframe ritual. Budget, push effort to your personal high-energy band. This isn't positive thinking, it's engineering for the nervous system you actually have. A story from a bright hallway that smelled like lemon cleaner. Thomas stood outside a glass conference room after a pitch that broke on question 3. He felt hollow in his stomach and tight under his ribs. The story he knew wanted to land. You're not cut out for this. He leaned against the cool wall. Ground name contain. Then 3R recognize. Strong opening, weak middle, timing collided with the client's outage. Context included a new stakeholder who hadn't been in discovery. Repair, he walked around the block, called a mentor for a 5-minute debrief, ate actual food, wrote a 2-track apology to his co-presenter for stepping on one answer. Recommit. I value clarity. Tomorrow I'll rebuild the middle with one case study and rehearse the 3 hardest questions. In his body, he felt the characteristic shift. A return of color to the world, breath that didn't scrape, a weight moving from sternum down into thighs. He still lost the deal. He gained a process he could respect. Take a breath and notice the coolness behind the nose, the warmth leaving on the exhale. Let your lower back find support. Press your heels into the ground. Feel a slow chain of muscle activation up the calves. The body is the metronome for sane pacing. Without it, the mind sprints and the mouth follows. We'll thread in the future pacing bridge, a small visualization that keeps you from overcorrecting. After a setback, the amygdala wants dramatic swings, new job, new system, new partner. The bridge pulls you to the smallest sturdy plank. You picture tomorrow at the exact moment that usually breaks, and you watch yourself run the next wise move. See your finger sliding the phone into a drawer at 10 p.m., your hand touching the doorframe and whispering the anchor sentence, your lips saying, "I can do X by Tuesday, not Y this week." You add a sensory detail, lamp light on the desk, mug warm in your palm, the grain of the doorframe under your fingers. The brain loves specifics, the body loves proof. Future pacing supplies both. Senses again, smell whatever is here. If nothing comes, remember the dry, papery smell of books or the mineral scent of rain. Let the image be faint, faint is enough. Touch your fingertips to your jaw hinges and feel the muscles release a notch. Your nervous system is a creature of cues, you're feeding it gentle ones. What about the setback that touches identity, a breakup, a layoff, a betrayal? The aftershock still applies, but the contain window repeats like tides. Here the 3R loop stretches over days with one added rule: no identity statements for 72 hours. You replace "I am unlovable" with "I'm having sharp, sad thoughts and a weight in my chest." You replace "I am done" with "I'm deeply tired." During those days, repair leans toward restore, sleep architecture, social warmth with safe people, sunlight, walking near trees if you can find them. You run micro-morning daily on purpose, hand to heart. Of course it hurts, 90 seconds, then one small move toward value, shower, email a friend, fold 2 shirts. The world will try to rush you. You don't let it. You choose pace and keep dignity. A short domestic scene. Saturday morning you burn pancakes. You planned a perfect breakfast to compensate for a week of distance. The smoke alarm bleats, a child cries, your partner looks tired. This is not a life-ruining event, it's a tiny, real sting, aftershock in miniature. Ground feet on tile, palm on cool counter. Name disappointed and embarrassed. Contain 1 minute, exhale, open a window. Smallest wise move that protects dignity and data, toast and fruit. Apologize calmly. Repair, hug, laugh at the smoke alarm, make a plan to try again next weekend. Recommit. I value connection, board game at 2 p.m. The soma tells you it worked. Shoulders lower, breath deepens, eyes soften. These little repairs are stitches. They hold the bigger fabric together. Let your eyes trace a rectangle in the room, clock, frame, monitor. Corners are soothing because corners are certain. Notice the dull ache that might still hang under your shoulder blade. Breathe into it without demanding it change. Permission is a regulator. Install the debrief window so you don't pick at scabs. After a loss, you schedule one focused debrief window of 20 minutes within 48 hours. During the window, you ask 3 questions. What did I expect? What happened? What will I try next? You gather facts, not indictments. You end with a future-pacing bridge. Outside the window, when rumination knocks, you redirect to the card where your next steps live. The amygdala respects calendars when you enforce them with gentle tone. Bring in a social dimension, the ally call. After certain hits, your nervous system needs co-regulation, another calm system in the room. You don't need advice, you need pacing. Ask one trusted person for 6 minutes. You say, I don't need solutions, can you mirror and breathe with me? They mirror the facts, label one emotion, breathe at your cadence. 6 minutes is enough to lower cortisol slope. You hang up. You run 3R, your independence isn't wounded by accepting help, it's strengthened. The body feels it, warmth around the heart, less tremor in the hands. Now the identity turn that threads through everything. You are not the rejection, the mistake, the burned pancake, the lost deal, the voice that says you'll never climb out. You are the awareness who notices the surge, grounds in the room, runs the sequence, repairs what you can, and recommits to what you value. Repeat, steady and warm. I am the observer behind the weather, not the weather itself. You feel where it lands, maybe low ribs, maybe the back of the neck loosening, maybe a soft width across the collarbones. The sentence is not magic. It is a posture you can keep. Close with a drill for the next 24 hours, prowrite your Aftershock card. On one side, 3 words, ground name, contain. On the other, the 3R recognize, repair, recommit. Keep it in your pocket or your notes app. When a sting lands, small or large, you run the card verbatim. You don't wait for courage, you borrow sequence. In the evening, write one evidence ledger pair that ties these tools to a signal you can't deny. Your nervous system learns by repetition plus relief. Give it both. You won't avoid every fall. You will learn how to land, knees bent, breath steady, eyes open, so you can stand again without calling yourself broken. Setbacks stop being identity verdicts and become information. And information, handled with the body on your side, turns into leverage. That is everyday peace under pressure, not the absence of pain, but the presence of protocols you trust. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the steward of your next move. There's a kind of quiet that only shows up when your choices line up with your values. It's not fireworks. It's the way your breath lands lower in your ribs, the way food tastes more vivid, the way you sleep without bracing. Most anxiety is not mystery, it's misalignment. Your amygdala hates ambiguity, and ambiguous living is an ambiguity factory, saying yes while wanting no, promising what your calendar can't hold, performing a persona 2 sizes too small. Today you will learn to design choices your nervous system trusts. We'll build 2 frameworks, the North Star filter and the choice architecture map. One helps you decide in 60 seconds without guilt. The other turns that decision into a path your body can actually walk. This isn't about perfect virtue. It's about reducing conflict between the alarm that wants safety and the self that wants meaning. Start at the body because values live there before they become sentences. Sit a half-inch taller. Let your shoulders drop as if you're handing them to gravity. Notice the cool air on the inside edges of your nostrils as you inhale and the faint warmth against your upper lip on the exhale. Put one palm on your chest, one on your belly. Whisper the 3 values you suspect anchor you, maybe honesty, craft, connection, maybe freedom, generosity, health. Say them slow enough to feel something shift. Often the belly warms on freedom, the chest softens on connection, the jaw unhooks on honesty. Your amygdala doesn't need poetry, it needs signals. These words, paired with breath, become signals. The North Star filter is a 2-question gate you run before you say yes, no, or not yet. Question 1. Which of my top 3 values is most at stake here? Question 2. What is the smallest action that moves me toward it without violating the other 2? Notice the double anchor. 1 value you move toward, 2 you refuse to betray. That's what prevents the amygdala from flaring later. The aftertaste of misalignment is a cortisol marinade. The filter is fast because you keep it simple. You're not solving a life puzzle in your head. You're choosing a direction and a smallest wise move. Try it right now with a decision you've been postponing. Maybe someone asked you to take on an extra project. Value most at stake, craft. The other 2, health and connection. Smallest action toward craft without betraying health or connection. Offer a 2-hour consult outline by Thursday. Decline ownership this quarter. Say it aloud, soft but firm. Feel how your breath drops a little lower. This is not because the world became easy. It's because you stopped lying to yourself in micro ways. Shift your senses. Feel the temperature at the back of your neck. Listen for a faraway sound, traffic, wind, a hallway voice, and a near one, the quiet hiss as you breathe. Trace with your eyes one straight edge in the room, window frame, book spine. These anchors keep your cortex online while you translate value into words. Now we turn words into a path. The choice architecture map has 4 tiles laid in order: context, constraint, cue, contract. Context: what environment will make the decision easier for your nervous system? Constraint: what time, scope, or limit will keep the amygdala from screaming scarcity? Cue: what physical or visual trigger will nudge the action at the right moment? Contract: what pre-commitment will make it easier to follow through, public, social, or self-bound? You don't install all 4 every time. You sketch the path in pencil and lay the first tile with your next breath. A story inside a fluorescent hallway. A physician's assistant named Rosa kept saying yes to double charting after hours. She valued care and excellence. She was betraying health. Each yes came with a cortisol spike and a midnight regret. She used the North Star filter. Value most at stake, care, others not to betray, health, honesty. Smallest move, propose a charting block during daylight and a shared template. Then she drew a choice architecture map. Context: move her workstation to a quieter corner during charting. Constraint: 2 30-minute blocks per shift only. Cue: a red sticky on the monitor that she flips when the block starts. Contract: tell the charge nurse she's unavailable during those 60 minutes unless it's an emergency. The first week, she felt heat in her cheeks saying the words. By week 2, her breath lived lower. By week 3, the afterwork headaches faded. She didn't become less caring. She became more believable to her own nervous system. Take a sensory beat. Press your fingertips into your thighs and feel the fabric push back. Notice the weight in your hamstrings where the chair holds you like a patient palm. Let your eyes soften until the edges of the room come into view. This wide gaze tells your midbrain the world is larger than this decision. Options widen in your body before they widen on your calendar. Here's the science, friendly and brief. When values are implicit, the amygdala treats every request like a potential exile from the tribe. Social threat and physical threat share circuitry. Making values explicit turns the tribal vote inward. Our people me approve this. The prefrontal cortex loves rules that are specific enough to follow and flexible enough to adapt. The North Star filter reduces prediction error by narrowing the choice set. The choice architecture map reduces friction at the point of action. Together, they make your intentions metabolizable, less sermon, more scaffold. Let's run a micro drill called the values breath. Inhale for 4 and silently say the value you're moving toward. Hold for 4 and say the values you refuse to betray. Exhale for 6 and say the smallest move. Craft health connections / decline ownership, offer outline. Do 3 rounds. A curious thing happens. The body recognizes the cadence. It feels like a doorframe ritual for your insides. Anecdote at a kitchen counter that smelled faintly of oranges. You're invited to a weekend trip with friends. You love them. You also promised yourself a quiet Sunday to reset after a month of grinding. Your stomach clenches at the thought of disappointing. Your jaw tightens with the urge to please. North Star filter. Connection is at stake. Don't betray health and honesty. Smallest move. Name your want cleanly and offer a path. You text, I love time with you. I'm protecting a quiet Sunday. I'm in for Saturday brunch and a walk. I'll head out after. You brace for pushback. It doesn't come. Even if it had, you would have stayed. That night, your breath landed lower. Your amygdala learned a clean lesson. Connection maintained, health funded, honesty intact. The nervous system stores these receipts. Notice the smell in the room: coffee, paper, your own skin, the dusty sweetness of a book spine. Roll your shoulders forward and back. slow enough to hear the soft grind in the joint. Press your tongue to the roof of your mouth, then let it drop. These sensory micro-moves are punctuation. They keep the prose of your day readable. Add a pattern called the integrity loop. It's simple and sacred. Say it, schedule it, show it, signal it. You say the value and the smallest move. You schedule it on your calendar with the value in the title. 11:30:12:00 craft revise intro. You show it by beginning when the clock says begin, using a focus anchor if needed. You signal completion to your nervous system and, when useful to one human, done with the intro pass. The loop builds identity. I am someone whose choices match my words. Somatically, this feels like warmth across the upper back and a cleaner tired at day's end. There's an obstacle that derails values, the pleaser-protector knot. The pleaser says yes to avoid social threat. The protector says no to avoid energetic threat. When they fight in your throat, you sputter. Untie them with the split sentence. First sentence pleases truthfully, second protects cleanly. I appreciate being asked and I want this to succeed. I can do X by Tuesday, I can't do Y this week. Notice the and instead of but can read as erasure. And carries both without drama. Your amygdala hears leadership in the pairing. Another story, this time in a glassy conference room with a fern and too much air conditioning. Ken is offered a stretch promotion that includes leadership in title and chaos in scope. He loves growth. He also knows his week already eats his sleep. North Star filter, growth is at stake. Don't betray health and craft. Smallest move, ask for constraints and a runway. Choice architecture map. Context, get details in writing. Constraint 90-day limited trial with a carve-out for deep work. Cue calendar blocks to protect craft. Contract documented review at day 60. He says, warm and steady, I'm excited and I want to do this well. To protect delivery, I propose a 90-day pilot with success criteria A and B, plus 2 mornings locked for core build. If that works, I'm all in. The room respects him because he respected himself first. His body notes the evidence. Less fizz in the ribs, eyes that don't dart, pulse steadier. Breathe and track the sensations at your collarbones. Can you feel them rise and fall? Slide your hands over your forearms and notice the hair stand for a second, then lay down. Your system is listening. Give it proof. You are here leading. We'll add a tiny ritual to stitch the filter and map into your day, the doorframe question. Every time you cross a threshold into a new context, office, kitchen, call, you ask, which value leads in this room? You answer in one word, whisper it, and let your posture reflect it. In the kitchen, connection, shoulders open. In the spreadsheet, craft, gaze narrow. On the walk, health, stride longer. Your RAS loves single-word missions. The amygdala relaxes when the mission is clear. Let's visit a sticky scenario. You made a decision aligned with values and someone is unhappy. Your amygdala reads disapproval as danger. You will use the mirror value path. Mirror the impact. It sounds like this puts you in a bind. Name your value. I'm protecting focus this week. Offer a path consistent with the value. I can send a draft Friday, or we can meet Monday at 10, which helps more. This holds shape without sharpening edges. In your body, breath stays long, voice slows, jaw doesn't clamp. Sensory pause, smell the air, hear the hum, feel the chair, notice one color in the room and say it in your mind. You are gathering reality so your values don't float in abstraction. Values without sensory anchors become slogans. Values with anchors become directions your feet can follow. A micro-practice to end decision fatigue, the 2-option trim. When you catch yourself toggling among 5 options while your jaw tightens, You cut to two that serve the leading value and violate the least. You write them down. You breathe 446 once. You pick. You install choice architecture for the one you picked. You let the others go. The relief you feel is not laziness. It's the amygdala easing because the fence sitting ended. There's a deeper layer. Sometimes you don't know your values because you've been crowdsourced for years. Build a values calibration walk. 15 minutes, no headphones. As you walk, you ask 3 times, when did I feel proud in the last month? You look for the common verbs. Told the truth, stayed, left, crafted, helped, rested, risked. You choose 3 and test drive them for a week by using the doorframe question. Your body will tell you when you get it right. Lower breath, wider vision, fewer midnight audits. A small domestic scene with the sun sliding along the floor. You promised yourself Sunday morning for writing. A friend texts, brunch, 11. You feel the tug, sweetness and sabotage. North Star filter, craft leads, don't betray connection and health. Smallest move, offer a later time. Yes to you, protecting a morning for writing. 2 p.m. walk, they reply, perfect. If they had said no, you'd keep your morning anyway. Your amygdala learns. Keeping a promise to yourself does not exile you. The body stores this as a new normal. If you stumble, and you will, use the values re-entry. No speeches. You whisper, I drifted. Breathe 446 once. Name the leading value. Choose the smallest move that honors it now, not in an imaginary clean slate tomorrow. Drift is not doom. Drift is a tide. Re-entry is a step. Take a final sensory inventory for this session. Feel your feet and the soft pressure through your heels. Notice the temperature under your jaw, the weight behind your sternum. Let your gaze widen, then narrow to one point, then soften again. These are the bookends of agency, wide to see context, narrow to act. We close with your drill for the next 24 hours. Write your top 3 values on a card. Under them, write the North Star filter questions. Below that, sketch a tiny choice architecture map for one decision you've been avoiding: context, constraint, cue, contract. Then run the integrity loop once today. Say it, schedule it, show it, signal it. At night, put one evidence ledger pair that ties value to action. Signal, I kept my Sunday morning. Skill, North Star filter plus choice architecture plus doorframe question. Identity is not declarations, it is receipts. Repeat the line that steadies you because it's true. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are also the chooser behind the choices, the one who can align breath with value and calendar with conscience. Your amygdala wants safety. Your values want meaning. You can give them both by designing decisions your body can believe. That belief feels like shoulders lowering on their own, like sleep that arrives without negotiation, like a day that hums at a frequency your nerves recognize as home. There's a switch you've been trying to flip with willpower, and it keeps snapping back the moment you get tired. Habits aren't moral tests, they're grooves in the brain's roadbed. The amygdala hates uncertainty, the basal ganglia love repetition, and dopamine rewards completion more than intention. Today you'll turn try harder into make it easier to start and hard to stop. We'll build 2 frameworks, the habit scaffold and trigger alchemy. One gives your nervous system a sturdy shape to hang repeated actions on. The other transforms the very cues that used to hijack you into cues that help. You won't become a robot. You'll become a gardener who designs the path so walking it feels natural even on messy days. Begin with the body because routine is physical long before it's calendar ink. Sit an inch taller. Let your exhale lengthen as if you're fogging a mirror in slow motion. Feel the chair holding your hamstrings, the texture of fabric under your palms, the subtle sway in your spine as you breathe. Smell the room, coffee, dust, rain, soap. Touch your thumb to the knuckle of your forefinger, the same tactile cue you used when focusing, and whisper, just this long, just this reason. That line becomes the pulse of habit scaffold. You'll stitch it into your days until your amygdala hears it as safety, not demand. The habit scaffold has 4 beams: anchor, action, affordance, acknowledgement. Anchor is a reliable moment you already do: boil water, open laptop, brush teeth, unlock office door. Action is the smallest version of the behavior that still counts: 1 sentence, 1 push-up, 1 page, 1 deep tidy of a single surface. Affordance is the environmental arrangement that makes the action friction light: mug beside kettle, file pinned to desktop, shoes visible by the door, journal open with today's date. Acknowledgement is a brief ritual that says, finished enough, a check mark, a whisper of satisfied, a single breath with eyes closed. You attach the action to the anchor, you design the affordance the night before, and you seal the loop with acknowledgement so dopamine pays you now instead of promising later. Repetition turns to identity when the loop is closed, not when a goal is imagined. Try it with something you keep missing. You want to stretch for your back. Anchor becomes after I brew coffee. Action is 30 seconds of hip hinge and spinal wave. Affordance is a mat unrolled near the kettle, not folded like a gilt flag in a closet. Acknowledgement is 1 slow exhale and a soft hand over your lower ribs. Day 1, it feels almost silly. Day 5, your body starts walking to the mat while your mind is still waking. Day 12, the morning feels lopsided without it. That isn't superstition. That's the basal ganglia running a sequence you taught them. Feel for a moment the cool air on the inside of your nostrils. Hear the far hum of traffic or event, the near whisper of fabric when you shift. Notice a thread of warmth travel down your arms with the exhale. These are signals to your midbrain that there's enough safety to try the tiniest version now. Habits belong to the present moment, not to grand future narratives. Here's a story of a designer named Armin who said he was bad at consistency. Nights vanished to scrolling, mornings started scattered, gym intentions evaporated like fog under noon sun. He tried declarations, nothing stuck. He built a scaffold instead. Anchor. He placed his running shoes inside the bathroom doorway, so he literally had to move them to enter. Action. Put on shoes and step outside for 60 seconds, not a 5K affordance. Playlist cued to a single song that meant go, phone in airplane mode. Acknowledgement. 1 photo of the sky, sent to a friend who replied with a single check mark. The first week had misses. The ritual survived because the starting line was embarrassingly low. 2 months later, I'm a runner slid out of his mouth without performance. Identity arrived like weather after pressure gradients, not like a vow. Science. Bridge, compact and friendly. Dopamine spikes at the moment of prediction confirmation. I thought I'd complete this plus I did equals a learning signal that strengthens the loop. When you set a bar that your depleted self can still clear, you generate more spikes, which builds craving for repetition. The amygdala calms because there's less uncertainty and less shame. The basal ganglia handle the choreography, freeing the prefrontal cortex to think about content, not discipline. Your job is not to be stronger. It's to architect predictability your nervous system loves. Take another sensory pause. Place 2 fingers lightly at your wrist and feel the small push of pulse. Notice the weight behind the sternum. Invite the breath to land lower by 2 millimeters. Trace with your eyes a straight edge in the room, the door frame, the monitor's bezel. Certainty at the edges gives your mind permission to play inside them. Now we turn to the cues that used to trip you. Trigger alchemy turns hijacks into handles. A trigger is a sensory or emotional cue that previously led to a spiral. Instead of trying to abolish it, you harvest it. The method has 3 moves: tag, transmute, tether. Tag means you name the trigger clearly and kindly when it appears. Here's the to check my phone when my code fails tests. Here's the loneliness at 10:30 p.m. Here's the adrenaline sting after a curt email. Transmute means you run a pre-decided micro-behavior that pairs with that exact sensation. 10 slow exhales, 3 sentences of a scout brief, 2 minutes of sunlight and spine, so the body learns a new outcome from the same cue. Tether means you attach the transmuted cue to a value-led action with a time boundary. After the 10 exhales, I write 1 failing test into the parking lot and set a 25-minute retry. After the loneliness tag, I send a 20-second voice note to a friend and read 1 page of fiction in bed. After the curt email, I run mirror label lead in a draft and schedule the reply for the morning. Over time, the trigger becomes a bell that summons a practice instead of a trapdoor. A domestic scene to feel it. Late, kitchen light harsh, the house half asleep. You feel the old itch to open a shopping app. Tag, lonely itch, 10:47 p.m., jaw tight, chest hollow. Transmute, you stand barefoot on cool tile, run the boundary breath and the midnight fridge drill, palms on the counter, exhale for 6, whisper, I'm having the thought that buying will soothe. Tether, you fill a glass of water, text yourself, call Joe at lunch, and put the phone in the hallway to charge. You read 1 page with a lamp that makes the room warm. It's not dramatic, but your body wakes a little less jangly and your amygdala files a quiet update. That itch has a different next step now. Let your senses widen. Hear 1 distant sound, 1 near, 1 inside. Smell the air, paper, rain, your own skin. Feel the gentle pressure of gravity on your thighs. The presence you cultivate here is not luxury. It's the channel through which you deliver new instructions to old circuits. You'll add a micro-practice called the 66-second groove because many studies popularized 66 days for a habit, but you're going to start with 66 seconds to engrave a groove today. When resistance spikes, you set a timer for 66 seconds and do the action's smallest visible unit, eyes soft, breath long. 1 push-up becomes holding plank for that count. Journaling becomes writing the date and 3 words. Reading becomes opening the book and tracking a single sentence with your finger. When the timer ends, you choose, continue for a few more minutes or acknowledge completion and stop. Either way, you protect the craving for I start more than the fantasy of I finish everything. The craving for starting is the rarest and most valuable fuel. A workplace vignette. Nayan is a PM whose afternoons evaporate into a notification fog. She chooses trigger alchemy for Slack. Tag, ping flare, heat in cheeks. Transmute, 446 breath plus a single mirror of the incoming message to make sure she's reading signal, not tone. Tether, she runs thread triage, safety, scope, schedule, and puts any non-safety thread into a foundational 30 block at 3 p.m. She also installs habit scaffold for a daily risk review. Anchor after lunch. Action, 3 risks written in 1 sentence each. Affordance, risk doc pinned. Acknowledgement, 1 slow exhale and the word steadied. 2 weeks in, she notices something in her body at 2:55 p.m. A gentle leaning forward, less dread, a sense of edge control. That's the somatic signature of trust returning. If your environment keeps stealing your habit, you adjust the affordance instead of blaming your character. The phone can live in another room, the book can live on your pillow, the water bottle can live where your hand lands when you reach for coffee. Affordance is adult compassion disguised as logistics. The amygdala does not care that you should be stronger. It cares that there's one less step between you and the start. Let your jaw unhook. Press your tongue to the roof of your mouth, then let it drop in a small sigh you can barely hear. Roll your wrists, feel the safe sand grind sensation in the joint. Somatic ease lowers the threshold for initiation. In that ease, we can install a narrative upgrade, the brick-a-day rule. You're building a wall. Today's job is not to finish the wall, it's to place one good brick, aligned and pressed. Then you admire the brick for 3 seconds. The admiration is not vanity, it's consolidation. Dopamine stamps the memory. This felt complete. Anecdote from a living room with afternoon sun. Myra wanted to write a short book, 2 years of starts and stalls. She chose brick a day. Anchor, sit on the couch when the kettle clicks. Action, write for 9 minutes. If resistance screams, copy a paragraph from a favorite author for 2 minutes and then continue. Affordance, laptop charged, document open to a single scene, noise machine on rainfall. Acknowledgement, she read her last sentence aloud and smiled with her eyes, even if the sentence was ugly. She used trigger alchemy for the "this is bad" surge, tag the flood, transmute with the 90-second weather rule, tether to write the next ugly sentence. 3 months later, the draft existed. She didn't conjure genius. She placed bricks. Her body learned the feel of bricks, a pleasant heaviness in the thighs, breath that didn't scrape, a quiet hum under her sternum. There's a trap called streak panic. You do something for 9 days, then miss day 10, and your amygdala declares bankruptcy. Install the chain-proof clause inside your scaffold. Never miss twice, and if you do, start with the smallest version at the next available anchor. You say this out loud the day you begin. You even plan a miss to prove the clause works. That pre-baked mercy is how streaks survive humanity. Identity is resilient when your rules are. Take a moment with your senses. Feel the temperature at the nape of your neck. Notice the stretch along your side ribs if you reach one hand overhead and breathe. Let your eyes find one patch of color in the room and rest there. These micro moments are not interludes. They are the glue that holds the sequence together when life jostles you. If you want to turn a habit fun without surrendering to distraction, you can use the play bundle. You pair the action with a strictly bounded treat, a favorite playlist that only plays during the task, a specific tea that lives with the journal, a candle lit only during bookkeeping. The amygdala anticipates the treat, the cortex enjoys the result, and you slip the work under the gate of "this feels nice." Temptation bundling is often framed as a hack. Treat it as care. Care teaches your nervous system that effort can coexist with pleasure. When habits happen with people, you add the ally signal, a 2-sentence check, in that's always the same format so it stays light. Brick, 9 minutes on intro, mood, steadier. Your ally replies with a single icon or word, no dissertations. The point is synchronized pacing, not co-rumination. Your vagus nerve likes to hear another heartbeat now and then. A thorny scenario. You built a scaffold, then a crisis blew up your day. The urge is to tear up the plan. Instead, run the micro-return. You ask, what is the 5-breath version I can do before sleep? If the habit was reading, you read a paragraph aloud. If it was exercise, you hold a wall sit for 30 seconds. If it was language, you write one new word on a sticky note and say it twice. The message is not "I'm perfect." It's "even today I return." Your amygdala learns that chaos does not erase you. Check your breath. Cool in, warm out. Slide one hand to your lower back and feel the warmth of your own palm. Listen for a fast sound and let it be your metronome for 10 seconds. The quiet you create here will let you hear the next framework's whisper when the day gets loud. We'll thread in a cousin of scaffold called the Sanctuary Minute. It's the 1-minute reset you insert between segments to prevent blade. Stand, widen your gaze, inhale for 4, exhale for 8, and whisper the identity line, "I am the observer, not the emotion." Then you speak one sentence. "In the next minute, I place one brick." It sounds small because it is. Small is what works. Big is what breaks when you're tired. Another day in the life scene. Commuter train, fluorescent lights, stale air with a hint of metal. You plan to study, but the car is noisy. Old, you would call the block awash. Scaffold, you opens the file, reads 2 definitions, writes 1 flashcard, whispers satisfied. Trigger alchemy, you tags the frustration, runs the 90-second weather rule, tethers the surge to look out the window for 30 seconds at something far. You step off the train less brittle. Consistency is 1,000 small salvations. There's one more nuance: reward timing. If you're trying to shift from instant hits scrolling to delayed satisfaction skill, you move the good feeling closer. You don't wait for the degree to feel proud. You feel proud at the check mark, the breath, the brick admired. You can even speak it. Good job starting. Many adults starved of healthy praise try to buy it with outcomes. Give it to yourself at initiation and completion instead. The amygdala will stop bargaining for cheap thrills when it trusts you to feed it steady joy. Let your shoulders drop like wet rope, then gather and stack again. Feel the chair's pressure map and imagine warm sand filling spaces along your spine. Sense the skin at your temples. Noticing is enough to quiet. In this body, your plans become repeatable. Your identity turn lands here. You are not someone who can't stick to things. You are the awareness that builds scaffolds and turns triggers into teachers. Say it softly, "I am the one who returns." Feel where it lands, maybe low in the ribs, maybe at the back of the neck easing, maybe as a soft width behind the eyes. Identity isn't a costume, it's a set of receipts. You're collecting them with every small loop closed. Close with your drill for the next 24 hours. Pick one habit that would make other choices easier. Sleep, wind down, movement, writing, tidying, outreach. Build the habit scaffold tonight. Anchor, action, affordance set in place, acknowledgement phrase chosen. Then choose one trigger that usually derails you and write its tag transmute tether plan on a card. Tomorrow, run 166-second groove when resistance snarls. If you miss, invoke the chain-proof clause and start at the next anchor. That's it, no infomercial voice, no self-trial. Just practice until your amygdala hears the same song every day and relaxes into the music. The world will still jostle you. There will be days that swerve. But with scaffold and alchemy, you will spend less time in "why can't I" and more time in "here's how I return." That difference is the texture of peace. Lower breath, softer jaw, a calendar full of small completions that add up to a self you recognize and like. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You place bricks. You return. You lead your nervous system by the hand, kindly, again and again, until the path is worn in and the walking feels like home. Fear dresses up as wisdom. It whispers, "Wait until you're ready," and because your amygdala wants certainty, it nods along. Readiness becomes a moving target. A month goes by, then a year, and the thing you cared about stays in a drawer. Today you'll stop waiting for a feeling and start building a relationship with healthy fear. You won't try to erase it. You'll learn to steer with it in the passenger seat. We'll build 2 frameworks, the courage budget and the exposure ladder light. One allocates a safe, renewable amount of discomfort each week, so your nervous system learns you can expand without burning out. The other turns vague dread into a staircase You can climb with shoes you already own. This is not bravado. It's practical bravery that feels like longer breath and cleaner pride. Start in the body, where fear lives first. Let your jaw unclench by the width of a seed. Inhale through your nose for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. On the exhale, imagine the heat leaving your cheeks like steam from a mug. Notice the weight through your heels, the subtle sway in your ankles, the chair cradling your hamstrings. Track the cool ribbon of air high in your nasal passages and the warm drift at your upper lip on the way out. Place 2 fingers on your pulse at the wrist. You don't need it to slow right now, you just need to meet it. Fear calms when it feels seen. The Courage Budget is a weekly ledger with 3 lines: stretch, sustain, soothe. Stretch is the small challenge that bumps your edge by 5–15%, enough to teach, not enough to flood. Sustain is the boring maintenance that keeps your life functional: emails, tidying, bookkeeping, so fear doesn't masquerade as chaos. Soothe is the deliberate recovery that tells your amygdala growth doesn't equal danger: sleep routine, sunlight, walking near trees, a call with the person who knows your real laugh. You set 1 item in each line every Sunday night in under 5 minutes. You allocate more soothe on weeks with bigger stretch. This math isn't moral, it's metabolic. Fear spikes when the body budget is empty. Courage spends less when the account is full. Write 1 sentence now, softly, like you're promising a friend. This week, stretch is X, sustain is Y, soothe is Z, keep stretch embarrassingly small. 1 outreach email, 1 5-minute demo to a colleague, 1 honest conversation opener. Feel the micro-relief as you choose scale on purpose. Your amygdala prefers known discomfort to unknown doom. The budget swaps unknown doom for known dots on the calendar. Take a sensory beat. Rub your thumb along the ridge of your index finger and notice the tiny ridges of your print. Listen for a sound far away, then a sound in the room, then the internal whisper of breath. Let your gaze widen to catch the edges of the space and then soften back to a single point. This is your "I can move with fear" stance, wide enough to see, narrow enough to act. Now for the exposure ladder light. Traditional exposure imagines a tall staircase and asks you to climb. Light shrinks steps until your body says, okay. The sequence is name, slice, sandwich, signal. Name the fear in a sentence without drama. I fear sounding silly when I ask a question. I fear posting my work and being ignored. I fear saying no and being disliked. Slice the fear into 5 micro steps from 1, a toe in the water, to 5, a small but real version of the scary thing. Sandwich each step with a brief safety ritual before and after: 1 4-4-6 breath and a value sentence before, a 90-second debrief and 1 evidence ledger line after. Signal means you tell your nervous system the climb happened. Mark it on paper, whisper brick placed, feel your pulse. Ladders fail when the body never receives the "we did it" signal. Here's a story from a fluorescent conference room that smelled like dry coffee. Danny, mid-level engineer, swallowed questions for months because a senior teammate talked fast and loud. Her amygdala equated curiosity with risk. Her stretch of the week became ask 1 clarifying question in stand-up. She built a ladder. Step 1. Rehearse a single sentence alone with a resonant humming reset. What outcome would make this a win today? Step 2. DM the sentence to appear for emoji-only thumbs up. Step 3. Ask the question in a small sub-meeting. Step 4. Ask in stand-up with the pace she practiced. Step 5. Ask and then mirror the answer for clarity. She sandwiched each step with breath and a value line: I value progress over guesswork. After stand-up day, she wrote in her evidence ledger: signal, team clarified scope in 90s. Skill, ladder light plus hum. The body's signature after. Less tremor in fingers, jaw unhooked, breath spread lower. Courage didn't arrive as a roar, it arrived as a steadier cadence. Your amygdala marks humiliation as mortal. That's why we wrap steps in compassion. When fear spikes, you also run the signal story split. Signal is heat in my face and a quick heart. Story is they'll think I'm dumb. Treat signal with breath and posture. Treat story with the three-angle reframe. Negative, plausible, neutral, factual, positive, plausible. They'll think I'm dumb. It's a 30-second question. We might save a rework. You aren't sugarcoating. You're widening what's true so action can squeeze through. Take another body beat. Place your palm on the cool desk. Feel the varnish, the tiny grit. Roll your shoulders forward and back, slow enough to hear fascia wake. Press tongue to the roof of your mouth, then let it drop. These tactile cues anchor bravery. Body first, move second, story third. There's a cousin tool to the ladder called the Courage Cue card. You write 3 lines you'll say when fear arrives. Line 1, hey alarm, I see you. Line 2, value leading today is. Line 3, smallest wise move, keep the card in your pocket. Touching it becomes a somatic bridge from heat to hinge. The point isn't poetry, it's reliability. Your amygdala calms when it recognizes the pattern. A kitchen scene, 9:13 p.m., phone face down, the day's leftovers cooling silence in the room. You've been avoiding a boundary with a friend who treats your time as bottomless. You run the budget, stretch, send a message naming your availability, soothe, short walk after, sustain, set a calendar block. You climb a ladder. Step 1, write the sentence. Step 2, read it aloud. Step 3, send. Sandwich with breath and the value. I value connection and respect. The message reads, I care about you and I'm protecting my bandwidth. I can talk Saturday between 3-4. I won't be available weeknights this month. You press send. The body waits. Heat in the cheeks. Breath clipped. You stand, step outside, feel night air on your forearms. 2 minutes later, a reply, thanks for telling me, Saturday works. Even if the reply had bristled, you would have held the line. Your amygdala is collecting receipts. Fear predicted exile. Reality delivered boundary plus bond. Science bridge, brief and kind. Fear memories consolidate quickly. Safety memories need repetition. That's why you don't chase a single brave moment high. You schedule small, repeatable stretches and pay them with soothe. The vagus nerve becomes your collaborator, not your brake. Over weeks, your RAS starts highlighting chances to practice instead of reasons to hide. The world doesn't get nicer. Your system gets stronger at staying kind while doing hard things. Sensory pause. Smell the air even if it's neutral. Name it, paper, dust, rain, skin. Feel the temperature at the nape of your neck. Find a straight edge and trace it with your eyes. This is not decoration. It's the way you keep your cortex online when the animal part wants to bolt. There's a special fear, visibility. Posting your work, speaking up, sharing truth. We'll add the spotlight shrink. You never speak to the internet or present to the company. You pick a single human face in your mind who would be helped and you speak to them. Then you add the 2-comment rule. You permit yourself to read exactly 2 responses, one supportive, one neutral, and then you step away. Your amygdala can't metabolize a fire hose. Shrink the aperture, keep the practice. Story in a studio apartment with a plant that keeps trying. Yi is a photographer who hides their work in folders named Later. They choose a ladder. Step 1, export 1 photo. Step 2, send to a friend. Step 3, post to a small forum. Step 4, post to main feed with a single sentence. Step 5, post weekly for 4 weeks. Sandwich with breath and the identity cue. I am the observer, not the emotion. They pair spotlight shrink with the 2-comment rule. Week 3, a stranger's lukewarm line lands sharp. Heat hits the face. Signal story split. Signal gets a walk and water. Story gets the reframe. They return to the plan. By week 5, the photo quality is better because reps, not because fear vanished. The body feels that integrity as a textured calm, thicker breath, softer jaw, pleasant weight in thighs. Fear often masks value. To reveal it, use the threat value map. Draw 2 columns. Left, what my amygdala says will be taken. Right, what I'm actually trying to protect. You'll often find status maps to craft, approval maps to belonging, control maps to trust. Once you name the value, you can build a ladder that moves you toward it on purpose, instead of letting fear whip you away from a phantom. Check in with your body budget. Rate sleep, food, water, sunlight on a quiet 1-10 scale in your head. Low numbers mean smaller steps today. There's nothing noble about flooding your nervous system in the name of growth. Courage without care is theater. Courage with care is culture, starting with the one inside your skin. Add the red line rule to keep exposure sane. You define non-negotiables you won't cross today. Don't humiliate yourself on purpose. Don't beg for connection. Don't abandon your anchor values. The ladder sits inside the red line fence. Limits keep courage from turning into self-attack. Workplace example with carpet that swallows footsteps. Omar wants to propose a new process. The last time he spoke up, a manager rolled eyes. His amygdala bookmarked that role as danger. Budget, stretch, set a 10-minute proposal. Sustain, finish his weekly report. Soothe, walk outside after the meeting. Ladder, 1. Write the proposal in 4 bullet sentences. 2. Rehearse with a peer. 3. Ask for 5 minutes on the agenda. 4. Make the ask. 5. Mirror 1 question and offer a pilot. Sandwich with breath and the value line. I value clarity and efficiency. During the meeting, he feels the heat rise. Step 4. He anchors in the chair's pressure, hums once behind closed lips, makes the ask. Micro yeses land. A pilot is approved. Regardless of outcome, his cortex stayed online while fear did its dance. That's the win that pays forward. Let your hands rest, palms down on your thighs. Feel the minimal drag of fabric as you slide them a centimeter. Listen for the small tick of a clock or an appliance. Notice your vision widen, then narrow, then widen again. You're teaching your body range. Range is resilience you can feel. Sometimes fear isn't loud. It's a gray film called avoidance. You'll apply the 2-minute scout to pierce it. Set a timer for 120 seconds and gather a single piece of context that lowers uncertainty. 1 email address, 1 policy page, 1 sentence you'll say. When the timer ends, you either take a micro-action or schedule the smallest next step on your calendar with a value in the title. Avoidance thrives in fog. Scouting turns on a porch light. There's repair for fear hangovers too. If you push, flood, snap, or freeze, you don't vanish. You run the gentle aftercare, water, a slow walk, a page of evidence ledger linking any skill you used to any signal you earned, however small. Then the 2-track apology if your fear splashed on someone else. You're not proving you're brave, you're proving you're trustworthy after wobble. Trustworthiness feels like breath that doesn't scrape and a gaze that can meet eyes again. A domestic moment, you've meant to sing again. The thought alone lights your chest with static. Budget, stretch, sing 1 verse alone today. Ladder 1, hum for 30 seconds. 2, sing 1 verse softly. 3, record on phone. 4, listen once. 5, send to the 1 friend who knows you want this. Sandwich with breath and the value, I value expression. You press record, your voice wavers, your eyes prickle, you listen. It's imperfect and alive, you send. The reply is simple, more. Your body registers the word like warm tea. Your amygdala updates its map. Survival includes singing. Take another sensory inventory. Temperature at the wrists. Taste on your tongue, mint, coffee, neutral. The weight behind your sternum, heavy, buoyant. Let your exhale lengthen by one beat. Every sensory check-in is a vote for presence over projection. We'll thread in the exit ramp because not all fear deserves repetition. If a ladder rung consistently spikes panic despite budgeted steps and proper soothe, and it's not required for your values, you step off. You write, "Not my mountain," and you spend that courage elsewhere. Discernment is not quitting. It's directing your finite courage where meaning lives. Tie it to identity now. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the alignment of small actions with values while fear hums in the background like a nervous fridge. Repeat under your breath, "I am the observer behind the weather, not the weather itself. I choose small brave moves." Feel where it lands. Maybe the low ribs widen. Maybe heat spreads across your upper back. Maybe your jaw unhooks a notch. Your nervous system recognizes leaders by tone and tempo, not speeches. Lead yourself the way you wish to be led. Warm, clear, consistent. Close with your drill for the next 24 hours. Fill a courage budget card. One stretch you'll do in 5 minutes or less. One sustain you'll complete. One soothe you'll protect. Sketch an exposure ladder light for the stretch with 5 tiny steps and a sandwich ritual. Write a courage cue card and put it in your pocket. When fear arrives, run the signal story split, then step onto rung 1. When you finish, mark a check and whisper, "Brick placed." Tonight, add one evidence ledger pair that links the act to a signal. That's how a body learns. Repetition plus relief. Story updated by the proof of your own behavior. Fear will keep visiting. Good. It means you're near the edge of something that matters. You don't have to hurl yourself over it. You can place a plank, cross, breathe, rest, and place another. The sound of that work is quiet. Longer exhales, steadier pace, fewer spikes at midnight. Practical bravery looks ordinary from the outside. From the inside, it feels like life coming back into color. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the person who budgets courage and climbs small rungs, and you are allowed to go slowly as long as you keep going. There's a peace you can feel in your bones when your days connect to each other like beads on a thread. Not perfect days, coherent ones. Your amygdala calms when it can predict the shape of tomorrow, and your prefrontal cortex hums when it knows where to place its tools. Today you'll stitch everything together into a personal operating rhythm you can run in under 15 minutes. We'll build 2 frameworks, the review, preview loop, and the identity beacon. One closes each day and opens the next so your RAS wakes searching for leverage instead of threat. The other sets a compact, living description of who you're being so micro-choices align without wrestling. This is integration, not ideology. It will feel like a steadier pulse, a jaw that doesn't clamp at night, a morning that greets you like a room you arranged on purpose. Start in the body because rhythm begins under the sternum. Sit slightly taller and let your shoulders slide down your back as if warm water were poured over them. Inhale for 4, hold 4, exhale for 6. On the exhale, imagine air leaving the top corners of your lungs like fog clearing a window. Notice the texture under your fingers, wood grain, plastic smoothness, fabric weave. Hear one far sound and one near. Name the temperature at your wrists. These details prime orientation. Orientation primes choice. The review preview loop is a 2-part ritual you run at day's end and day's start. At night, you review in 3 sentences. Sentence 1, signal I noticed. Sentence 2, skill I ran. Sentence 3, stitch I want to carry. A signal could be asked 1 outcome question, passed on midnight text, or breath returned quickly after a spike. The skill is the named protocol you used. Window widen, stop, mirror label lead, boundary breath, 3 by 3 feed ladder light. The stitch is one small behavior you want again tomorrow. Anchor sentence before email. Doorframe question in the kitchen. Integrity loop on the proposal. In the morning, you preview with 3 lines that set your Rs like a tuned radio. North Star today is, smallest wise move I must protect is, when the alarm barks, I'll run, write it on a card or notes app. Speak it aloud, even a whisper, so your vagus hears leadership in your tone. The loop works because it doesn't ask for a memoir or a manifesto. It asks for proof and a plan. Take a sensory beat. Place one hand on your breastbone and one on your lower ribs. Feel your top hand rise a little later than the lower. If it doesn't, invite it by directing breath down and back. Let your gaze soften until you see the edges of the room, then rest your eyes on a single point the size of a coin. Range first, focus second. This is how your nervous system likes to move. Here's the story of a week that almost swallowed a person whole. Monday, Aria missed a deadline. Her cheeks went hot, her jaw locked. Tuesday, a family member dropped a charged comment. Wednesday, her calendar double-booked itself like a cruel joke. Old Aria would have white-knuckled and called it grind. New Aria ran the loop. Monday night review, signal, I paused before defending. Skill, 90-second weather rule. Stitch, doorframe question before stand-up. Tuesday morning preview, North Star, connection over correctness. Smallest wise, mirror once, ask what outcome would help today. Alarm plan, boundary breath. Midweek she added a soothe entry to her courage budget, sunlight walk between 1 and 1:20. By Friday outcomes were mixed. One meeting still ran hot, but her body told the truer story. Fewer cheek flushes, breath that found the lower ribs faster, a steadier pace between rooms. She did win the week. As she led it in increments, the loop made the increments visible. Quick science bridge. Your hippocampus consolidates memory during slow-wave sleep. What it consolidates is biased by what you label as meaningful just before bed. If you review by pairing signal with skill, you teach your brain to store, I caused this good thing by doing that. In the morning, your RAS privileges targets you state out loud. It becomes a bouncer at the door of attention, letting in items that match your preview. The loop teaches 2 truths. Agency is specific, and tomorrow is a place you can influence before you arrive. Take another body beat. Unhook your back molars by a millimeter. Hum once, low, feeling vibration touch lips and collarbones. Let your tongue rest from the roof of your mouth. If there's a cool draft at your ankles, notice it. If not, imagine the memory of one. Precision tells the animal brain we're safe enough to choose. Now the identity beacon. You no longer chase a feeling called confidence. You articulate a 30-word identity that acts like a lighthouse when weather turns. The beacon has 3 parts in one sentence: who you are being, how you move, and what you protect. It sounds like, I am a calm, clear steward of my attention who moves slow to move fast and protects dignity, mine and yours, in every room. Or I am a warm, precise builder who returns, repairs quickly, and protects craft without burning the village. You test drive it for a week. If your breath shortens when you say it, it's performative. If it lengthens, it's aligned. You speak it on the inhale and the exhale like a tide. Inhale the first clause, exhale the second, inhale the third. Your amygdala recognizes the rhythm of leadership. Build yours now roughly, feel your feet. Breathe 4-4-6 once. Whisper, I am the kind of person who, and fill it with verbs, not titles. Notice where your body eases. If ease doesn't come, simplify, I return. I lead gently. I ask for the outcome. Then lengthen it to a sentence you can carry. The beacon is not about impressing anyone. It's about giving your RAS a pattern to match in micro moments, doorways, pings, kitchen thresholds, so your mouth and hands know what to do. Let's anchor it in a late summer evening. The room smells like hot dust and oranges. You're cooking. A text arrives with a sharp edge. Heat climbs your neck. Doorframe question, which value leads connection. Review preview memory surfaces. When alarm barks, run boundary breath. Identity beacon whispers, protect dignity. You exhale for 6. Feel the cool air brush your upper lip and type, I want to give this proper attention. Can we talk tomorrow at 10? You put the phone face down, turn the burner lower and taste the sauce. The world didn't transform, you did. That transformation is somatic. Jaw looser, shoulders less pinned, a quiet warmth across your upper back like sunlight through a window. We'll add a micro practice inside the loop called the 1% stitch. Each night, you choose one behavior you'll nudge by 1% tomorrow. Not heroic, just noticeable. Start stand-up with one outcome question. Open dock before Slack at 9. Drink 300 ml water before second coffee. You name it, you place it under stitch. And you place its cue, doorframe, kettle click, laptop wake. This keeps progress granular enough for dopamine to pay and your amygdala to relax. A body trusts what it can repeat. Another anecdote, hallway light humming, carpet swallowing sound. Dev, a senior analyst, kept promising himself mornings for deep work and then bleeding them to reactive threads. He wrote an identity beacon, I am a precise, kind analyst who protects deep work and communicates early. His preview loop focused his mornings, North Star craft, smallest wise move, 30-minute parser pass. Alarm plan, focus anchor plus sensory shield. He put craft in his calendar titles. He added a beacon whisper at doorframes. 2 weeks in, he still had noisy days, but he noticed that his hands found the parser file faster than the chat window. The RAS had been trained to fetch the right handle. That's identity becoming mechanical kindness. Sensory pause. Press your fingertips together and feel the pads yield. Trace a rectangle with your eyes, a book, a frame, a monitor. Invite your breath to land lower by a hair. If your feet are cold, press them into the floor and imagine heat spreading like tea through thin porcelain. These quiet somatic edits are what keep the beacon from becoming a slogan. There's a saboteur called the almost. It says, I almost did it, and your brain pays as if you did, so tomorrow you skip the start. The loop cures almost with the done dot. At the end of each smallest wise move, you place a tiny dot beside the calendar block title. Not a sticker galaxy, not a chart, just a dot you draw with a pen. Your hand moving is the acknowledgement. Your eyes seeing the dot is the reward. Dots become days, days become rhythm, rhythm becomes identity. Your amygdala learns that completion feels like warm heaviness in the thighs and breath that ends with a soft sigh. A relationship scene. You and your partner keep talking past each other at 9 p.m., both tired, both braced. You preview North Star connection. Smallest wise move, ask do you need comfort or a plan? Alarm plan, 90-second holding pattern. Your beacon carries protect dignity. At 9:07, the old pattern tries to climb in. You feel your shoulders head toward your ears. You hum once low, you ask the question. They exhale. You run mirror label lead. By 9:18, the room softens. No violins play, but you feel the quiet click of alignment. That click is pieces hinge. Let's thread a weekly layer, the Sunday stitch. 10 minutes, pen and paper. You look at your evidence ledger for the week and highlight 3 pairs that made a difference. You write one beacon sentence in the margin. You place 3 30-minute blocks labeled with values, craft, connection, health, on your calendar where your energy peaks. You draft one courage budget stretch small enough to do on Monday. You picture yourself doing it and note one sensory detail, the click of the door handle, the cool air in the hallway. The Sunday stitch is a kindness to Wednesday you. Your amygdala loves when a past version of you has already built a bridge. Take another breath. Cool in ribbon, warm out drift. If your back is tight, bow your head and feel the fascia lengthen where skull meets neck. If your hands are jittery, place them palms down and imagine them heavy as stones. The body stores schedules more faithfully than apps do. Add a repair ritual for when the loop collapses because life imposes itself. The 2-minute reboot. You stop wherever you are, look at the nearest rectangle, breathe 446, and write a single preview line for the next hour. North Star, finish draft paragraph. Smallest wise, write ugly first line. Alarm plan, 66-second groove. You do it. Then you place one done dot. You just rebuilt trust in 120 seconds. Trust feels like breath that doesn't scrape, and a neck that doesn't crane toward the future. We should talk about joy, because peace without joy becomes beige. The loop hosts joy with a practice called Harvest the Glimmer. In review, after you write your 3 lines, you close your eyes for 10 seconds and revisit one glimmer, a look from a colleague, sunlight on a stair, a joke at lunch. You feel it in the body on purpose, not gratitude as performance, glimmer as nourishment. The amygdala uses glimmers as evidence that the world holds warmth, not just threat. Warmth broadens options. A studio apartment, plant reaching for light. You're alone on a Thursday. You run the loop. Signal, stopped mid-spiral and walked. Skill, signal story split. Stitch, anchor sentence before inbox. Morning preview, North Star precision. Smallest wise, Titan section 2. Alarm plan, gentle break after 30. Identity beacon, I am a warm, precise builder who returns, repairs, protects craft. You whisper it and feel your ribs widen a touch. Later that day, the meeting derails. You run your alarm plan. It doesn't fix the world. It fixes your posture in it. That's enough. If rumination hijacks review, your hand starts writing essays of regret. Enforce the postcard rule. 3 sentences only, as if you were sending a card to a friendly mentor. Tight, kind, factual. Anything more bloats the ritual and trains avoidance. Peace is light. Let it stay light. Your amygdala will sometimes test you with the old tape. Who are you to act like this? You answer with the beacon and a receipt. I am the observer, not the emotion. Yesterday I returned after a stumble. Then you run a micro-action that proves your mouth didn't lie. 166-second start, 1 mirror label lead, 1 boundary breath. Identity is a loop closed twice, in words and in behavior. A workplace afternoon with fluorescent hum and the dry scent of copier paper. You are tired, the week was a maze. You open your notes, see the preview you wrote at 8:10 a.m. North Star craft. You smirk, you didn't nail it, but you can place 1 brick, thumb to knuckle. Just this long, just this reason. 5 minutes later, 1 paragraph exists that didn't. You put a done dot. Your jaw eases. This is the kind of quiet I mean. Close this session with the build itself. Right now, write tonight's review lines. Whisper them. Feel your chest soften at a word or 2. Then write tomorrow morning's preview, North Star's smallest wise move, alarm plan. Draft an identity beacon sentence that makes your breath lower by a fraction. Copy it onto a card. Put the card near the first door you'll cross. Picture your hand touching the door frame and your lips speaking the word that leads in that room. Picture your shoulders dropping half a centimeter as you do. That is a future you can influence before it arrives. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You're the person who stitches days together with 3 sentences at night and 3 in the morning, who carries a beacon like a pocket light, who turns fear into fuel and attention into craft. Your nervous system learns this rhythm the way feet learn stairs, step, 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 land. In a month, the world will still be the world. You will be more yourself in it, steadier pulse, wider gaze, clearer voice. That is everyday peace, carried in your breath, proven by your choices. You've been practicing in the small moments, breath at doorways, tiny brave moves, bricks placed when no one is watching. Today is about making it stick when the season changes, when a project ends, when old habits try to creep back in like ivy at night. Endings and beginnings are where the amygdala tests you. It loves to whisper, "See, it didn't last." Or you'll build a closing ritual that protects the gains, an opening ritual that carries them forward, and a maintenance rhythm your nervous system can trust year-round. Two frameworks seal the work: the Keystone Week and the Relapse Radar. The first is a 7-day tune-up that consolidates identity. The second is an early warning map that catches drift before it becomes spiral. You'll finish with a ceremony, yes, a ceremony, because bodies remember rites more than resolutions. This isn't sentiment. It's strategy that leaves fingerprints in muscle and breath. Begin with the body, the way you always do. Sit or stand a little taller. Let the exhale lengthen until you feel it graze the bottom ribs. Notice the exact temperature at the inside of your wrists. If you can, press them together and feel warmth bloom in the valley between bones. Listen for one far sound and one near. Smell the room as if it were the first time: dust and paper, soap, coffee, rain. Your nervous system understands now through senses, not slogans. We'll anchor the last step the same way we anchored the first. Keystone Week is simple on paper and profound in practice. For 7 days, you run 3 anchors and 1 audit, at the same times each day, with the same tone you've learned to trust. Warm, clear, steady. Morning anchor, a 90-second preview: North Star's smallest wise move, alarm plan, spoken aloud while you touch a door frame. Midday anchor, a foundational 30, or, if life is furious, a 66-second groove placed like a stone in a river so the water knows where to split. Evening anchor, review in 3 sentences: signal, skill, stitch, followed by 1 slow exhale and the done dot. The daily audit is a 1-line ledger each night, linking identity to behavior: builder returned, kind leader repaired, calm steward protected craft. 7 repetitions stitch a memory trace that your RAS will fetch under pressure. This is consolidation by rhythm, not by willpower. Feel the chair hold your hamstrings. Roll your shoulders forward and back, slow enough to hear the soft sand grind of fascia waking. Trace a rectangle with your eyes, a window, a frame, the bezel of a screen. Corners are certainty. Your amygdala relaxes when edges are clear. Now the relapse radar. Drift doesn't announce itself, it accumulates. You'll map 5 early tells: physiological, behavioral, linguistic, so you can intervene at mile 1, not mile 50. Physiological: jaw clamps, breath moves high, fingers cold. Behavioral: doom scroll at night, skip the review, avoid the smallest wise move. Linguistic: always, never, what's the point, returns to the room. Environmental: the sanctuary minute evaporates, the sensory shield goes missing, the phone returns to the desk like a cat you swore would stay out of the kitchen. Social: you stop sending ally signals, your humor sharpens. When 2 tells show up in a day, you run the 3R reset tomorrow, no debate. 3 anchors, 3 kindness inputs: sleep, sunlight, water. 3 boundaries with state swap seal. Radar isn't to shame you, it's to let you act while you still have steering. A story to make it flesh. Monday, fluorescent office, stale coffee smell. Nor yes from before walks into week 1 after a product launch. Her body is buzzy, her patience paper thin. Relapse tells flicker like dashboard lights. Late night scrolling, a missed review, language getting absolute in her head. Tuesday morning, she catches it. Relapse radar says 2 tells. She runs a 3R reset. Morning anchor with the door frame, North Star, respect. Smallest wise, ask the outcome in the 10 a.m. alarm, mirror label lead. Noon, 66-second groove to review 2 bugs instead of drowning in the backlog. Evening, review lines and a done dot, then a boundary breath before replying to a spicy email tomorrow. The week doesn't magically soften, she does. In her body, the signal is unmistakable. Heat leaves her cheeks sooner, breath lands lower, humor returns without edge. The drift was caught at mile 1. Taste the air on your tongue, neutral, coffee, mint. If it's dry, notice dry. Press your toes into the floor and let them spread. Release. These tiny gestures are a language your midbrain reads faster than thoughts. We'll speak them often in the days ahead. Install the 4 seasons maintenance so your practices flex with energy and context. Spring, starting something. Exposure ladder light rungs 1-3, courage budget heavy on soothe. Summer in the groove, deep 90 once a day, integrity loop visible on calendar, micro yes method primed for meetings. Autumn, handoffs and endings. Aftershock protocol ready for feedback, 2-track apology within 24 hours of stumbles, review, preview loop strict at night. Winter fatigue, low sun, grief, body budget protocol lades, thresholds drop to 66-second groove, spotlight shrink for any public share, and the exit ramp nearby so you don't confuse suffering with growth. You aren't a machine. You are a weather system with seasons. Maintenance that ignores seasons becomes another stick to hit yourself with. Not here. A kitchen scene with the scent of oranges and hot dust. You had promised Sunday morning to writing. A text with a sharp edge arrives. The jaw triggers old grooves. Your seasonal map says winter rules today, sleep was bad, light was low. You shrink the brave move, 5-minute brick a day, then a walk to the window for the 2-point reset. You send a velvet pause instead of a midnight reply. The body stores this as mercy it can trust. Shoulders lower on their own, eyes soften, breath lengthens. This is sustainability. It looks like kindness and sounds like a slow yes. Another tool you'll carry into the longer road is the memory mint. Your amygdala learns faster from pictures than paragraphs. So each week, you mint 1 single snapshot memory of you leading under heat, nor at the doorframe, Arya asking comfort or a plan, Malik running state swap seal. Close your eyes for 10 seconds and replay one such moment with high specificity. The grain of the doorframe under your fingers, the breath cooling your upper lip, the exact phrasing you chose. Store it with a 1-line tag, I returned. Then, before a hard day, you pull a mint and replay it once. This isn't nostalgia, it's neural rehearsal with your own material. Check sensation again. Slide your palms down your thighs and feel the drag of fabric. Hum once, low and barely audible, and feel the vibration touch your lips and collarbones. If your teeth are touching, let a seed of space appear between molars. The hum is a bridge, use it often. You'll close this book with a ceremony that makes your nervous system remember. Call it the circle and the door. Sit with a pen and a small card. Draw a circle. Inside it, write the methods you will keep in your pocket like keys. Stop, 446, RAS redirect, Emotional Alchemy Ladder, Conflict Compass, Mirror, Label, Lead, Focus, Anchor, Foundational 30, Distraction Dissection, Evidence Ledger, Body Budget Protocol, Boundary Bank, State Swap, Seal, Aftershock Protocol, 3R Loop, North Star Filter, Choice Architecture, Habit Scaffold, Trigger Alchemy, Courage Budget, Exposure Ladder Light, Review, Preview Loop, Identity Beacon. Outside the circle, write 3 things you are not carrying anymore. An old sentence, an old pace, an old debt to perfection. Then stand, touch a real doorframe. Whisper your beacon on the inhale and exhale. Step through. On the other side, perform a sanctuary minute. Wide gaze, long exhale, the line you've learned to trust. I am the observer behind the weather, and I choose the smallest wise move. Your body will remember the step and the breath long after the ink fades. Proof lives in stories, so here is one more from a hallway with cheap carpet and a clock that clicks too loudly. Eli, yes, the student whose library glare once made his ribs buzz, sits in a different library now, learning something beyond exams. He's prepping for a job interview. His mind tries to sprint, his hands want to shake. He runs Keystone Day 6 like it's an old song, preview at the door, North Star, clarity. Smallest wise, rehearse the outcome question. Alarm, boundary, breath. A foundational 30 on company research with a sensory shield, brown noise, full screen, a light scarf, a memory mint of passing a midterm he thought would flatten him. After the call, he writes a ledger pair, signal, ask 2 outcome questions calmly, skill, conflict compass plus hum reset. He walks out into late light, breath low, jaw soft. The world hasn't promised anything. His nervous system doesn't need promises, it has receipts. You might wonder how you'll remember all this. You won't, not in sentences. You'll remember in posture, in the way your exhale lengthens when a voice lifts, in your thumb finding your knuckle and whispering just this, in the way you hum once before speaking, in the doorframe question, in the done dot. That's the point. Peace that must be recited under duress isn't peace. Peace that lives in your hands, your gaze, your schedule, your pace, that stays. Let's do one last drill together, right now to seal it. Sit or stand. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Whisper the beacon you've drafted in 3 soft parts. Picture tomorrow's first doorframe and say the word that will lead in that room. See your hand move a pen to place a done dot next to one's smallest wise move. Now bring up a relapse radar tell from your past week and pre-choose the 3R reset you'll run if it appears. Finally, mint a memory, one time in the last month where you led under heat. Hear the room, feel the grain of the desk, the temperature at your wrists. You are telling your amygdala a new story with the only language it truly trusts: repetition, breath, image, motion. Your life will still contain hard news, loud rooms, missed mornings, people who arrive with their own alarms blaring. You won't float above it. You'll stand inside it with steadier lungs and kinder reflexes. You'll feel fear and talk to it like a teammate who needs better instructions. You'll hear the critic and translate it into a scout. You'll place bricks on days when big wins are a lie. You'll repair, you'll rest. You'll ask for the outcome. You'll say clean no's and generous yesies. You'll stitch days with review and preview until the thread hums on its own. Say the line that has carried you one more time at a pace your vagus recognizes as home. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the steward of breath and boundary, of focus and repair, of courage measured and repeated. You know how to talk to your amygdala now. You know how to ask it for its data, thank it for its devotion, and lead it with protocols that work in real rooms with real people and real stakes. The rest is practice. Practice is mercy. Mercy is power. When you forget, because you will also remember. And in the remembering, you return.